he spread his wings, he caught them, he carried them on his pinions. The Lord alone guided him, and there was no foreign god with him. He had him ride on the high places of the earth, and he ate the produce of the field, and he had him suck honey from the rock, and oil from the flinty rock, curds of the herd, and milk of the flock, with fat of lambs and rams, the breed of Bashan, and of goats, with the best of the wheat, and you drank wine of the blood of grapes. But Jeshurun became fat and wicked. You have become fat, thick, and obstinate. Then he abandoned God, who made him, and rejected the rock of his salvation. They made him jealous with strange gods, with abominations. They provoked him to anger. They sacrificed to demons who were not God, to gods whom they have not known, new gods who came lately, whom your fathers did not know. You forgot the rock who fathered you, and forgot the God who gave you birth. The Lord saw this and spurned them because of the provocation by his sons and daughters. Then he said, I will hide my face from them. I will see that what their end will be, are a perverse generation, sons in whom there is no faithfulness. They have made me jealous with what is not God. They have provoked me to anger with their idols. So I will make them jealous with those who are not a people. I will provoke them to anger with a foolish nation. For a fire has flared in my anger, and it burns to the lowest part of Sheol, and devours the earth with its yield, and sets on fire the foundations of the mountains. I will add misfortunes to them. I will use up my arrows on them. They will be wasted by famine, and emaciated by plague, and a bitter epidemic. And the teeth of beasts I will send against them, with the venom of the crawling things of the dust. Outside the sword will make them childless, and inside terror, both young man and virgin. The nursing child with the man of gray hair, I would have said, I will wipe them out. I will remove the mention of their name from humanity, had I not feared the provocation by the enemy, that their adversaries would misjudge, that they would say, Our is triumphant, and the Lord has not performed all this. For they are a nation destitute of counsel, and there is no understanding in them. If only they were wise, and they understood this. If only they would discern their future. How could one chase 1,000 and, and put and two put 10,000 to flight, unless their rock had sold them, and the Lord had given them up? Indeed, their rock is not like a rock. Even our enemies themselves judge this. For their vine is from the vine of Sodom, and from the fields of Gomorrah their grapes are grapes of poison. Their clusters bitter, their wine is the venom of serpents, and the deadly poison of vipers. Is it not stored up with me, sealed up in my treasuries? Vengeance is mine, and retribution. In due time their foot will slip, for the day of their disaster is near, and the impending things are hurrying to them. For the Lord will vindicate his people, and will have compassion on his servants. When he sees that their strength is gone, and there is none remaining, bond or free, he will say, Where are their gods, the rock in which they took refuge? Those who ate the fat of their sacrifices and drank the wine of their drink offering, let them rise up and help you. Let them be your protection. See now that I am, see now that I am He, and there is no God besides me. It is I who put to death and give life. I have wounded it, I have wounded, and it is I who heal, and there is no one who can save anyone from my hand. Indeed, I raise my hand to heaven and say, As I live forever, if I have sharpened my flashing sword, and my hand has taken hold of justice, I will return vengeance on my adversaries, and I will repay those who hate me. I will make my arrows drunk with blood, and my sword will devour flesh with the blood of the slain and the captives from among the long-haired leaders of the enemy. Rejoice, you nations, with his people, for he will avenge the blood of his servants, and he will return vengeance on his adversaries, and will atone for his land and his people. Then Moses came and spoke all the words of the song in the hearing of the people. He with Joshua the son of Nun, when Moses had finished speaking all these words to all Israel, he said to them, take your heart all the words with which I am warning you today, which you will command your sons to follow carefully, all the words of this law, for it is not a trivial matter for you. Indeed, it is your life. And by this word you will prolong your days in the land which you are about to cross the Jordan to possess. Now the Lord spoke to Moses that very same day, saying, go up to this mountain of the Abiram, Mount Nebo, which is in the land of Moab, opposite Jericho, and look at the land of Canaan, which I am giving to the sons of Israel as a possession. Then you are to die on the mountain where you ascend and be gathered to your people, as Aaron, your brother, died on Mount Hor, and was gathered to his people because you broke faith with me in the midst of the sons of Israel, at the waters of Meribah, Kadesh, in the wilderness of Zin, because you did not treat me as holy in the midst of the sons of Israel. For you will see the land at a distance, but you will not go there, into the land which I am giving the sons of Israel. Chapter 33. Now this is the blessing with which Moses, the man of God, blessed the sons of Israel before his death. He said, the Lord came from Sinai and dawned on them from Seir. He shone from Mount Paran, and he came from the midst of myriads of holy ones. At his right hand there was flashing lightning for them. Indeed, he loves the people. All your holy ones are in your hand, and they followed in your footsteps, in your steps. Everyone takes of your words. Moses issued to us the law, a possession for the assembly of Jacob, and he was king in Jeshurun. When the heads of the people gathered the tribes of Israel together, may Reuben live and not die, nor may his people be few. And this was regarding Judah. So he said, hear, Lord, the voice of Judah, and bring him to his people. With his hands he contended for them, and may you be a help against his adversaries. Of Levi he said, let your Thummim and your Urim belong to your godly men, whom you tested at Massah, with whom you contended at the waters of Meribah, who said of his father and his mother, I did not consider them, and he did not acknowledge his brothers, nor did he regard his own sons, for they kept your word and complied with your covenant. They will teach your ordinances to Jacob and your law to Israel. They shall put incense before you and hold burnt offerings on your altar. Lord, bless his strength and accept the work of his hands. Smash the hips of those who rise up against him and those who hate him, so that they do not rise again. Of Benjamin he said, may the beloved of the Lord live in insecurity beside him, who shields him all the day long, and he lives between his shoulders. Of Joseph he said, blessed of the Lord he be his land, with the choice things of heaven, with the dew, and from the deep waters lying beneath, and with the choice yield of the sun, and the choice produce of the months, and with the best things of the ancient mountains, with the choice things of the everlasting hills, and with the choice things of the earth, and its fullness, and the favor of him who dwelt in the bush. Let it come to the head of Joseph, and to the top of the head of the one who was prince among his brothers. As the firstborn of his ox, majesty is his, and his horns are the horns of the wild ox. With them he will gore the peoples all at once to the ends of the earth. And, and those are the 10,000 of Ephraim, and those are the thousands of Manasseh. And of Zebulun, he said, rejoice, Zebulun, in your going out, and Issachar in your tents. They will call peoples to the mountain. There they will offer righteous sacrifices, for they will draw out the abundance of the seas and the hidden treasures of the land of God, of Gad. He said, blessed is the one who enlarges Gad. He lies down as a lion and tears the arm, also the crown of the head. Then he selected the choicest part of it for himself, for there the ruler's portion was reserved, and he came with the leaders of the people. He executed the justice of the Lord and his ordinances of Israel. Of Dan, he said, Dan is a lion's cub. He leaps out from Bashan. Of Naphtali, he said, Naphtali, satisfied with favor and full of the blessing of the Lord. Take possession of the sea and, and the south of Asher, he said. More blessed than sons of is Asher. May he be favored by his brothers, and may he dip his foot in olive oil. Your bars will be iron and bronze, and as your days, so will your strength be. There is no one like the God of Jeshurun, who rides the heavens to your help, and the clouds in his majesty. The eternal God is a hiding place, and underneath are the everlasting arms. And he drove out the enemy from you, and said, "Destroy." So Israel lives in security. The fountain of Jacob secluded, and a land of grain and new wine. His heavens also drip down dew. Blessed are you, Israel, who is like you, a people saved by the Lord, the shield of your help, and he who is your is the sword of your majesty. So your enemies will cringe before you, and you will trample on their high places. Chapter 34. Now Moses went up from the plains of Moab to Mount Nebo, to the top of Pisgah, which is opposite Jericho. And the Lord showed him all the land, Gilead as far as Dan, and all Naphtali, and the land of Ephraim and Manasseh, and all the land of Judah, and as far as the western sea and the Negev, and the territory in the valley of Jericho, the city of palm trees, as far as Zoar. And then the Lord said to him, "This is the land which I swore to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, saying, I will give it to your descendants. I have let you see it with your eyes, but you will not go over there." So Moses, the servant of the Lord, died there in the land of Moab, in accordance with the word of the Lord, and he buried him in the valley in the land of Moab, opposite Beth Peor. But no one knows his burial place to this day. Although Moses was 120 years old when he died, his eyesight was not dim, nor had his vigor left him. So the sons of Israel wept for Moses in the plains of Moab for 30 days. Then the days of weeping and mourning for Moses came to an end. Now Joshua, the son of Nun, was filled with the spirit of wisdom, because Moses had laid his hands on him. And the sons of Israel listened to him and did as the Lord had commanded Moses. Since that time, no prophet has risen in Israel like Moses, whom the Lord knew face to face, for all the signs and wonders which the Lord sent him to perform in the land of Egypt against Pharaoh and all his servants and all his land, and for all the mighty power and all the great terror which Moses performed in the sight of all Israel. Joshua.
Joshua chapter 1. Now it came about after the death of Moses, the servant of the Lord, that the Lord spoke to Joshua the son of Nun, Moses' servant, saying, Moses, my servant, is dead. So now arise, cross this Jordan, you and all this people, to the land which I am giving to them, to the sons of Israel. Every place on which the sole of your footsteps, I have given it to you, just as I spoke to Moses. From the wilderness and this Lebanon, even as far as the great river, the river Euphrates, all the land of the Hittites, and as far as the great sea toward the setting of the sun will be your territory. No one will be able to oppose you all the days of your life. Just as I have been with Moses, I will be with you. I will not desert you nor abandon you. Be strong and courageous, for you shall give this people possession of the land which I swore to their fathers to give them. Only be strong and very courageous. Be careful to do according to all the law which Moses my servant commanded you. Do not turn from it to the right or to the left, so that you may achieve success wherever you go. This book of the law shall not depart from your mouth, but you shall meditate on it day and night, so that you may be careful to do according to all that is written in it. For then you will make your way prosperous, and then you will achieve success. Have I not commanded you be strong and courageous? Do not be terrified nor dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. Then Joshua commanded the officers of the people, saying, Pass through the midst of the camp and command the people, saying, Prepare for provisions for yourselves, for within 3 days you are going to cross this Jordan to go in to take possession of the land which the Lord your God is giving you to possess it. But to the Reubenites, the Gadites, and to half the tribe of Manasseh, Joshua said, Remember the word which Moses, the servant of the Lord, commanded you, saying, The Lord your God is giving you rest and will give you this land. Your wives, your little ones, and your livestock shall remain in the land which Moses gave you beyond the Jordan. But you shall cross ahead of your brothers in battle formation, all your valiant warriors, and shall help them, until the Lord gives your brothers rest, as he is giving you. And they also possess the land which the Lord your God is giving them. Then you may return to your own land and take possession of that which Moses, the servant of the Lord, gave you beyond the Jordan toward the sunrise. They answered Joshua, saying, all that you have commanded us we will do, and wherever you send us we will go. Just as we obeyed Moses in all things, so we will obey you. Only may the Lord your God be with you as he was with Moses. Anyone who rebels against your command and does not obey your words and all that you command him shall be put to death. Only be strong and courageous. Chapter 2. Then Joshua the son of Nun sent 2 men as spies secretly from Shittim, saying, go view the land, especially Jericho. So they went and entered the house of a prostitute whose name was Rahab, and rested there. But it was told to the king of Jericho, saying, behold, men from the sons of Israel have come here tonight to spy out the land. And the king of Jericho sent word to Rahab, saying, bring out the men who have come to you, who have entered your house, for they have come to spy out all the land. But the women had taken the 2 men and hidden them, and she said, yes, the men came to me, but I did not know where they were from. It came about, when it was time to shut the gate at dark, that the men went out. I do not know where the men went. Pursue them quickly, for you will overtake them. But she had brought them up to the roof and hidden them in the stalks of flax, which she had laid in order on the roof. So the men pursued them on the road to the Jordan, to the crossing places. And as soon as those who were pursuing them had gone out, they shut the gate. Now, before the spies lay down, she came up to them on the roof and said to the men, I know that the Lord is giving you the land, and that the terror of you has fallen on us, and that all the inhabitants of the land have despaired because of you. For we have heard how the Lord dried up the water of the Red Sea before you when you came out of Egypt, and what you did to the 2 kings of the Amorites who were beyond the Jordan, to Sihon and Og, whom you utterly destroyed. When we heard these reports, our hearts melted, and no courage remained in anyone any longer because of you. For the Lord your God, he is God, in heaven above and on earth below. Now then, please swear to me by the Lord, since I have dealt kindly with you, that you also will deal kindly with my father's household, and give me a pledge of truth, and spare my father and my mother and my brothers and my sisters and all who belong to them, and save our lives from death. So the men said to her, our life for yours, if you do not tell this business of ours, and it shall come about when the Lord gives us the land that we will deal kindly and faithfully with you. Then she let them down by a rope through the window, for her house was on the city wall, so that she was living on the wall. And she said to them, go to the hill country, so that the pursuers will not encounter you, and hide yourselves there for 3 days until the pursuers return. Then afterward you may go on your way. And the men said to her, we shall be exempt from this oath to you, which you have made us swear, unless, when we come into the land, you tie this cord of scarlet thread in the window through which you let us down, and gather into your house your father, your mother, and your brothers, and all your father's household. And it shall come about that anyone who goes out of the doors of your house outside will have his blood on his own head, and we will be innocent. But anyone who is with you in the house, his blood will be on our head, if a hand is laid on him. But if you tell this business of ours, then we shall be exempt from the oath which you have made us swear. She then said, according to your words, so be it. So she sent them away, and they departed, and she tied the scarlet cord in the window. So they departed and came to the hill country, and remained there for 3 days until the pursuers returned. Now the pursuers had searched for them all along the road, but had not found them. Then the 2 men returned and came down from the hill country, and they crossed over and came to Joshua the son of Nun. Then they reported to him all that had happened to them. And they said to Joshua, the Lord has indeed handed over to us all the land. Furthermore, all the inhabitants of the land have despaired because of us. Israel crosses the Jordan. Chapter 3. Then Joshua got up early in the morning, and he said, all the sons of Israel set out from Shittim and came to the Jordan, and they spent the night there before they crossed. Then at the end of 3 days, the officers went through the midst of the camp, and they commanded the people, saying, when you see the ark of the covenant of the Lord your God with the Levitical priests carrying it, then you shall set out from your place and go after it. However, there shall be a distance between you and it of about 200 cubits, of about 2,000 cubits by measurement. Do not come near it, so that you may know the way by which you shall go, for you have not passed this way before. Then Joshua said to the people, consecrate yourselves, for tomorrow the Lord will do miracles among you. And Joshua spoke to the priests, saying, Take up the Ark of the Covenant and cross over ahead of the people. So they took up the Ark of the Covenant and went ahead of the people. Now the Lord said to Joshua, This day I will begin to exalt you in the sight of all Israel, so that they will know just as I have been with Moses, I will be with you. So you shall command the priests who are carrying the Ark of the Covenant, saying, When you come to the edge of the waters of the Jordan, you shall stand still in the Jordan. Then Joshua said to the sons of Israel, Come here and hear the words of the Lord your God. And Joshua said, By this you will know that the living God is among you, and that he will assuredly drive out from you the Canaanite, the Hittite, the Hivite, the Perizzite, the Girgashite, the Amorite, and the Jebusite. Behold, the ark of the covenant of the Lord of all the earth is crossing over ahead of you into the Jordan. Now then, take for yourselves 12 men from the tribes of Israel, one man for each tribe. And it will come about when the soles of the feet of the priests who carry the ark of the Lord of all the earth, rest in the waters of the Jordan. The waters of the Jordan will be cut off, that is, the waters which are flowing down from above, and they will stand in one heap. So when the people set out from their tents to cross the Jordan with the priests carrying the ark of the covenant before the people, and when those who were carrying the ark came up to the Jordan, and the feet of the priests carrying the ark stepped down into the edge of the water, for the Jordan overflows all its banks all the days of harvest, then the waters which were flowing down from above stood and rose up in one heap, a great distance away at Adam, the city that is beside Zarethan, and those which were flowing down toward the sea of Araba, the salt sea, were completely cut off. So the people crossed opposite Jericho, and the priests who carried the ark of the covenant of the Lord stood firm on the dry ground in the middle of the Jordan, while all Israel crossed on dry ground, until all the nation had finished crossing the Jordan. Memorial stones from the Jordan, chapter 4. Now, when the entire nation had finished crossing the Jordan, the Lord spoke to Joshua, saying, Take for yourselves 12 men from the people, one man from each tribe, and command them, saying, Take up for yourselves 12 stones from there out of the middle of the Jordan, from the place where the priest's feet are standing firmly, and carry them over with you, and lay them down in the encampment where you will spend the night. So Joshua called the 12 men whom he had appointed from the sons of Israel, one man from each tribe, and Joshua said to them, Cross again to the ark of the Lord your God, into the middle of the Jordan, and each of you take up a stone on his shoulder, according to the number of the tribes of the sons of Israel. This shall be a sign among you. When your children ask later, saying, What do these stones mean to you? Then you shall say to them, That the waters of the Jordan were cut off before the ark of the covenant of the Lord. When it crossed the Jordan, the waters of the Jordan were cut off. So these stones shall become a memorial to the sons of Israel forever. So the sons of Israel did exactly as Joshua commanded, and took up 12 stones from the middle of the Jordan, just as the Lord spoke to Joshua, according to the number of the tribes of the sons of Israel. And they carried them over with them to the encampment and put them down there. Then Joshua set up 12 stones in the middle of the Jordan, at the place where the feet of the priests who carried the ark of the covenant were standing, and they are there to this day. For the priests who carried the ark were standing in the middle of the Jordan until everything was completed that the Lord had commanded. Joshua spoke to the people according to all that Moses had commanded Joshua, and people hurried and crossed. And when all the people had finished crossing, then the ark of the Lord and the priests crossed in front of the people. The sons of Reuben, the sons of Gad, and half the tribe of Manasseh crossed over in battle formation before the sons of Israel, just as Moses had spoken to them. About 40,000 equipped for war crossed for battle before the Lord to the desert plains of Jericho. On that day, the Lord exalted Joshua in the sight of all Israel, so that they revered him just as they had revered Moses all the days of his life. Now the Lord said to Joshua, Command the priests who carry the ark of the testimony that they come up from the Jordan. So Joshua commanded the priests, saying, Come up from the Jordan. It came about when the priests who carried the ark of the covenant of the Lord had come up from the middle of the Jordan, and the soles of the priests' feet were lifted up to the dry ground, that the waters of the Jordan returned to their place and went over all its banks as before. Now the people came up from the Jordan on the 10th of the first month and camped at Gilgal on the eastern edge of Jericho. As for those 12 stones which they had taken from the Jordan, Joshua set them up at Gilgal. And he said to the sons of Israel, When your children ask their fathers in time to come, saying, What are these stones? Then you shall inform your children, saying, Israel crossed this Jordan on dry ground. For the Lord your God dried up the waters of the Jordan before you until you had crossed. just as the Lord your God had done to the Red Sea, which he dried up before us until we had crossed, so that all the peoples of the earth may know that the hand of the Lord is mighty, so that you may fear the Lord your God forever. Israel is circumcised. Chapter 5. Now it came about when all the kings of the Amorites who were beyond the Jordan to the west, and all the kings of the Canaanites who were by the sea, heard how the Lord had dried up the waters of the Jordan before the sons of Israel until they had crossed, that their hearts melted, and there was no spirit in them any longer because of the sons of Israel. At that time the Lord said to Joshua, make for yourself flint knives and circumcise again the sons of Israel the second time. So Joshua made himself flint knives and circumcised the sons of Israel at Gibeath Haraloth. This is the reason why Joshua circumcised them. All the people who came up out of Egypt, who were males, and all the men of war died in the wilderness along the way after they came out of Egypt. For all the people who came out were circumcised, but all the people who were born in the wilderness along the way as they came out of Egypt had not been circumcised. For the sons of Israel walked 40 years in the wilderness until all the nation, that is, the men of war who came out of Egypt, perished, because they did not listen to the voice of the Lord, to whom the Lord had sworn that he would not let them see the land which the Lord had sworn to their fathers to give us, a land flowing with milk and honey. So their children, whom he raised up in their place, Joshua circumcised, for they were uncircumcised, because they had not circumcised them along the way. Now, when they had finished circumcising all the nation, they remained in their places in the camp until they recovered. Then the Lord said to Joshua, today I have rolled away the shame of Egypt from you. So the name of that place is called Gilgal to this day. While the sons of Israel camped at Gilgal, they celebrated the Passover on the evening of the 14th day of the month on the desert plains of Jericho. Then on the day after the Passover, on that very day, they ate some of the produce of the land, unleavened cakes and roasted grain. And the manna ceased on the day after they had eaten some of the produce of the land, so that the sons of Israel no longer had manna, but they ate some of the yield of the land of Canaan during that year. Now it came about when Joshua was by Jericho. He raised his eyes and looked, and behold, a man was standing opposite him with his sword drawn in his hand. And Joshua went to him and said to him, are you for us or for our enemies? He said, no. Rather, I have come now as captain of the army of the Lord. And Joshua fell on his face to the ground and bowed down and said to him, what has my Lord to say to his servant? And the captain of the Lord's army said to Joshua, remove your sandals from your feet, for the place where you are standing is holy. And Joshua did so. The conquest of Jericho, chapter 6. Now Jericho was tightly shut because of the sons of Israel. No one went out, and no one came in. But the Lord said to Joshua, see, I have handed Jericho over to you, with its king and the valiant warriors. And you shall march around the city, all the men of war circling the city once. You shall do so for 6 days. Also, 7 priests shall carry 7 trumpets of ram's horns in front of the ark. Then on the 7th day you shall march around the city 7 times, and the priests shall blow the trumpets. It shall be that when they make a long blast with the ram's horn, and when you hear the sound of the trumpet, all the people shall shout with a great shout, and the wall of the city will fall down flat, and the people shall go up, everyone straight ahead. So Joshua the son of Nun called the priests and said to them, take up the ark of the covenant and have 7 priests carry 7 trumpets of ram's horns in front of the ark of the Lord. Then he said to the people, go forward and march around the city, and our men shall go on ahead of the ark of the Lord. And it was so that when Joshua had spoken to the people, the 7 priests carrying the 7 trumpets of ram's horns before the Lord went forward and blew the trumpets, and the ark of the covenant of the Lord followed them. And the armed men went ahead of the priests who blew the trumpets, and the rear guard came after the ark while they continued to blow the trumpets. But Joshua commanded the people, saying, you shall not shout, nor let your voice be heard, nor let a word proceed from your mouth until the day I tell you, shout. Then you shall shout. So he had the ark of the Lord taken around the city, circling it once. Then they came into the camp and spent the night in the camp. Now Joshua got up early in the morning, and the priests took up the ark of the Lord. Then the 7 priests carrying the 7 trumpets of ram's horns in front of the ark of the Lord went on continually and blew the trumpets, and the armed men went ahead of them, and the rear guard came after the ark of the Lord while they continued to blow the trumpets. So the second day they marched around the city once and returned to the camp. They did the same for 6 days. Then on the seventh day they got up early at the dawning of the day and marched around the city in the same way 7 times. Only on that day did they march around the city 7 times. And at the seventh time, when the priest blew the trumpet, Joshua said to the people, "Shout, for the Lord is giving you the city. But the city shall be designated for destruction. It and everything that is in it belongs to the Lord. Only Rahab the prostitute and all who are with her in the house shall live, because she hid the messengers whom we sent. But as for you, only keep yourselves from the things designated for destruction, so that you do not covet them and take some of the designated things and turn the camp of Israel into something designated for destruction and bring disaster on it. But all the silver and gold and articles of bronze and iron are holy to the Lord. They shall go into the treasury of the Lord." So the people shouted, and the priests blew trumpets. And when the people heard the sound of the trumpet, the people shouted with a great shout, and the wall fell down flat, so that the people went up into the city, everyone straight ahead, and they took the city. They utterly destroyed everything in the city, both man and woman, young and old, ox, sheep, and donkey, with the edge of the sword. And Joshua said to the 2 men who had spied out the land, "Go into the prostitute's house and bring the woman and all she has out there, just as you have sworn to her." So the young men who were spies went in and brought out Rahab, her father, her mother, her brothers, and all she had. They also brought out all her relatives and placed them outside the camp of Israel. Then they burned the city with fire and all that was in it. Only the silver and gold and the articles of bronze and iron they put into the treasury of the house of the Lord. However, Rahab the prostitute and her father's household and all she had, Joshua spared, and she has lived in the midst of Israel to this day, because she hid the messengers whom Joshua sent to spy out Jericho. Then Joshua made them take an oath at that time, saying, "Cursed before the Lord is the man who rises up and builds this city Jericho with the loss of his firstborn. He will lay its foundation, and with the loss of his youngest son, he will set up its gates." So the Lord was with Joshua, and his fame was in all the land. Israel is defeated at Ai. Chapter 7. But the sons of Israel acted unfaithfully regarding the things designated for destruction. For Achan, the son of Carmi, the son of Zabdi, the son of Zerah, from the tribe of Judah, took some of the designated things. Therefore, the anger of the Lord burned against the sons of Israel. Now Joshua sent men from Jericho to Ai, which is near Beth Haven, east of Bethel, and said to them, "Go up and spy out the land." So the men went up and spied out Ai. Then they returned to Joshua and said to them, "Do not have all the people go up. Have only about 2 or 3 thousand men go up and attack Ai. Do not trouble all the people there, for there are few." So about 3,000 men from the people went up there, but they fled from the men of Ai, and the men of Ai struck and killed about 36 of their men, and pursued them from the gate as far as Shebarim, and struck them on the mountainside, and the hearts of the people melted and became like water. Then Joshua tore his clothes and fell to the ground on his face before the ark of the Lord until the evening, both he and the elders of Israel, and they put dust on their heads. And Joshua said, "O Lord God, why did you ever bring this people across the Jordan only to hand us over to the Amorites to eliminate us? If only we had been willing to live beyond the Jordan, O Lord. What can I say, since Israel has turned their back before their enemies? For the Canaanites and all the inhabitants of the land will hear about it, and they will surround us and eliminate our name from the earth. And what will you do for your great name?" So the Lord said to Joshua, "Stand up. Why is it that you have fallen on your face? Israel has sinned, and they have also violated my covenant, which I commanded them. And they have even taken some of the things designated for destruction, and have both stolen and kept it a secret. Furthermore, they have also put them among their own things. Therefore, the sons of Israel cannot stand against their enemies. They turn their backs before their enemies because they have become designated for destruction. I will not be with you anymore unless you eliminate from your midst the things designated for destruction. Stand up, consecrate the people, and say, 'Consecrate yourselves for tomorrow, because the Lord, the God of Israel, has said this: There are things designated for destruction in your midst, Israel. You cannot stand against your enemies until you have removed the designated things from your midst.' So in the morning you shall come forward by your tribes. And it shall be that the tribe which the Lord selects by lot shall come forward by families, and the family which the Lord selects shall come forward by households, and the household which the Lord selects shall come forward by man. And it shall be that the one who is selected with things designated for destruction shall be burned with fire, he and all that belongs to him, because he has violated the covenant of the Lord, and because he has committed a disgraceful thing in Israel, the sin of Achan. So Joshua got up early in the morning and brought Israel forward by tribes, and the tribe of Judah was selected. So he brought the family of Judah forward, and he selected the family of the Zerahites. Then he brought the family of the Zerahites forward, man by man, and Zabdi was selected, and he brought his household forward, man by man, and Achan, son of Carmi, son of Zabdi, son of Zerah, from the tribe of Judah was selected. Then Joshua said to Achan, my son, I implore you, give glory to the Lord, the God of Israel, and give him praise, and tell me now what you have done. Do not hide it from me. So Achan answered Joshua and said, truly I have sinned against the Lord, the God of Israel, and this is what I did. When I saw among the spoils a beautiful robe from Shinar, 200 shekels of silver, and a bar of gold, 50 shekels, and weight, then I wanted them, and I took them. And behold, they are hidden in the ground inside my tent with the silver underneath. So Joshua sent messengers, and they ran to the tent, and behold, it was hidden in his tent with the silver underneath it. So they took them from inside the tent and brought them to Joshua and to all the sons of Israel, and they laid them out before the Lord. Then Joshua and all Israel with him took Achan the son of Zerah, the silver robe, the bar of gold, his sons, his daughters, his oxen, his donkeys, his sheep, his tent, and all that belonged to him, and they brought them up to the valley of Achor. And Joshua said, why have you brought disaster to us, on us? The Lord will bring disaster on you this day. And all Israel stoned them with stones, and they burned them with fire. After they had stoned them with stones, then they erected over him a large heap of stones that stands to this day. And the Lord turned from the fierceness of his anger. Therefore, the name of that place has been called the Valley of Achor to this day. The conquest of Ai. Now the Lord said to Joshua, do not fear or be dismayed. Take all the people of war with you. Arise, go up to Ai. See, I have handed over to you the king of Ai, his people, his city, and his land. You shall do to Ai and its king just as you did to Jericho and its king. You shall take only its spoils and its cattle as plunder for yourselves. Set an ambush for the city behind it. So Joshua rose up with all the people of war to go up to Ai, and Joshua chose 30,000 men, valiant warriors, and sent them out at night. He commanded them, saying, see, you are going to ambush the city from behind it. Do not go very far from the city, but all of you be ready. Then I and all the people who are with me will approach the city, and when they come out to meet us, as they did the first time, we will flee before them. They will come out after us until we have lured them away from the city, for they will say, they are fleeing before us, just as they did the first time. So we will flee before them. Then you shall rise from your ambush and take possession of the city, for the Lord your God will hand it over to you. Then it will be when you have seized the city that you shall set the city on fire. You shall do it in accordance with the word of the Lord. See, I have commanded you. So Joshua sent them away, and they went to the place of ambush and remained between Bethel and Ai on the west side of Ai. But Joshua spent that night among the people. Now Joshua got up early in the morning and mustered the people, and he went up with the elders of Israel before the people to Ai. Then all the people of war who were with him went up and approached and arrived in front of the city, and they camped on the north side of Ai. And there was a valley between him and Ai. Then he took about 5,000 men and set them in ambush between Bethel and Ai on the west side of the city. So they stationed the people, all the army that was on the north side of the city, and its rear guard on the west side of the city. And Joshua spent that night in the midst of the valley. And it came about when the king of Ai saw them that the men of the city hurried and got up early and went out to meet Israel in battle, he and all his people, at the appointed place before the desert plain. But he did not know that there was an ambush against him behind the city. Then Joshua and all Israel pretended to be defeated before them and fled by the way of wilderness. And all the people who were in the city were called together to pursue them. And they pursued Joshua and were lured away from the city. So not a man was left in Ai or Bethel. But they had all gone out after Israel, and they left the city unguarded and pursued Israel. Then the Lord said to Joshua, reach out with the sword that is in your hand toward Ai, for I will hand it over to you. So Joshua reached out with the sword that was in his hand toward the city. Then the men in ambush rose quickly from their place, and when he had reached out with his hand, they ran and entered the city and captured it, and they quickly set the city on fire. When the men of Ai turned back and looked, behold, the smoke of the city ascended to the sky, and they had no place to flee this way or that. For the people who had been fleeing to the wilderness turned against the pursuers. When Joshua and all Israel saw that the men in ambush had captured the city, and that the smoke of the city ascended, they turned back and killed the men of Ai. The others came out from the city to comfort them, to confront them, so that they were trapped in the midst of Israel, some on this side, some on that side, and they killed them until there was not one left, who to them by the Lord, the God of Israel, and the whole congregation grumbled against the leaders. But all the leaders said to the whole congregation, "We have sworn to them by the Lord, the God of Israel, and now we cannot touch them. This we will do to them, even let them live, so that wrath will not be on us because of the oath which we swore to them." So the leaders said to them, "Let them live." And they became gatherers of firewood and labored to draw water from the whole congregation, just as the leaders had spoken to them. Then Joshua called for them and spoke to them, saying, "Why have you deceived us, saying, 'We are very far from you,' when you are living within our land? Now, therefore, you are cursed, and you will never cease to be slaves, both gatherers of firewood and labor to draw waters for the house of my God." So they answered Joshua and said, "Since your servants were fully informed that the Lord your God had commanded his servant Moses to give you all the land and to destroy all the inhabitants of the land before you, we feared greatly for our lives because of you, and did this thing. And now behold, we are in your hands. Do to us as it seems good and right in your sight to do." This he did to them and saved them from the hands of the sons of Israel, and they did not kill them. But on that day Joshua made them gatherers of firewood and labor to draw water for the congregation and for the altar of the Lord to this day in the place which he would choose. Five kings attacked Gibeon. Chapter 10. Now it came about when Adonizedek, king of Jerusalem, heard that Joshua had captured Ai and had utterly destroyed it, just as he had done to Jericho and its king, so he had done to Ai and its king, and that the inhabitants of Gibeon had made peace with Israel and were within their land, that he feared greatly because Gibeon was a great city, like one of the royal cities, and because it was greater than Ai and all its men were mighty. Therefore, Adonizedek, king of Jerusalem, sent word to Hoham, king of Hebron, to Piram, king of Jarmuth, to Japhiah, king of Lachish, and Debir, king of Eglon, saying, "Come up to me and help me, and let's attack Gibeon, for it has made peace with Joshua and with the sons of Israel." So the five kings of the Amorites, the king of Jerusalem, the king of Hebron, the king of Jarmuth, the king of Lachish, the king of Eglon, gathered together and went up, they with all their armies, encamped by Gibeon and fought against it. Then the men of Gibeon sent word to Joshua at the camp at Gilgal, saying, "Do not abandon your servants. Come up to us quickly and save us and help us, for all the kings of the Amorites that live in the hill country have assembled against us." So Joshua went up from Gilgal, he and all the people of war with him, and all the valiant warriors. And the Lord said to Joshua, "Do not fear them, for I have handed them over to you. Not one of them will stand against you." So Joshua came upon them suddenly by marching all night from Gilgal, and the Lord brought them into confusion before Israel. And he struck them down in a great defeat at Gibeon, and pursued them by the way of ascent to Beth Horon, and struck them as far as Azekah and Makkedah. And as they fled from Israel, while they were at the descent of Beth Horon, the Lord hurled large stones from heaven on them as far as Azekah, and they died. There were more who died from the hailstones than those whom the sons of Israel killed with the sword. Then Joshua spoke to the Lord on the day when the Lord turned the Amorites over to the sons of Israel. And he said in the sight of Israel, "Sun, stand still at Gibeon, and moon at the valley of Ajalon." So the sun stood still and the moon stopped until the nation avenged themselves of their enemies. It is not written in the book of Jashar. Is it not written in the book of Jashar? And the sun stopped in the middle of the sky and did not hurry to go down for about a whole day. There was no day like that before it or after it, when the Lord listened to the voice of a man, for the Lord fought for Israel. Then Joshua and all Israel with him returned to the camp at Gilgal. Victory of Makkedah. Now these five kings have fled and hidden themselves in the caves at Makkedah. And it was told to Joshua, saying, "The five kings have been found hidden in the cave of Makkedah." So Joshua said, "Roll large stones against the mouth of the cave, and most men by it to guard, and post men by it to guard it. But do not stay there yourselves. Pursue your enemies and attack them from behind. Do not allow them to enter their cities, for the Lord your God has handed them over to you." It came about when Joshua and the sons of Israel had finished striking them down in a very great defeat, until they were destroyed, and the survivors of them who escaped had entered the fortified cities, that all the people returned to the camp to Joshua at Makkedah in peace. No one uttered a word against any of the sons of Israel. Then Joshua said, "Open the mouth of the cave and bring these 5 kings out to me from the cave." They did so, and brought these 5 kings out to him from the cave: the king of Jerusalem, the king of Hebron, the king of Jarmuth, the king of Lachish, and the king of Eglon. When they brought these kings out to Joshua, Joshua called for all the men of Israel and said to the leaders of the men of war who had gone with him, "Come forward, put your feet on the necks of these kings." So they came forward and put their feet on the necks. Joshua then said to them, "Do not fear or be dismayed. Be strong and courageous, for the Lord will do this to all your enemies with whom you fight." So afterward, Joshua struck them and put them to death, and hanged them on 5 trees. And they were hung on the trees until evening. Then it came about at sunset that Joshua gave the command, and they took them down from the trees and threw them into the cave where they had hidden themselves, and put large stones over the mouth of the cave to this very day. Now Joshua captured Makkedah on that day, and struck it and its king with the edge of the sword. He utterly destroyed it and every person who was in it. He left no survivor. So he did to the king of Makkedah just as Joshua's conquest of southern Canaan. Then Joshua and all Israel with him passed on Makkedah to Libnah and fought against Libnah. And the Lord also handed it over to Israel with its king, and he struck it and every person who was in it with the edge of the sword. He left no survivor in it. So he did to its king just as he had done to the king of Jericho. And Joshua and all Israel with him passed on from Libnah to Lachish, and they camped by it and fought against it. And the Lord handed Lachish over to Israel, and he captured it on the second day, and struck it and every person who was in it with the edge of the sword, according to all he had done to Libnah. Then Horam, king of Gezer, came up to help Lachish, and Joshua defeated him and his people until he had left him no survivor. And Joshua and all Israel with him passed on from Lachish to Eglon, and they camped by it and fought against it. They captured it on that day and struck it with the edge of the sword, and he utterly destroyed on that day every person who was in it, according to all that he had done to Lachish. Then Joshua and all Israel with him went up from Eglon to Hebron, and they fought against it, and they captured it and struck it and its king and all its cities and all the persons who were in it with the edge of the sword. He left no survivor, according to all that he had done to Eglon, and he utterly destroyed it and every person who was in it. Then Joshua and all Israel with him returned to Debir, and they fought against it. He captured it and its king and all its cities, and they struck them with the edge of the sword, and utterly destroyed every person who was in it. He left no survivor. Just as he has done to Hebron, so he did to Debir and its king, as he had also done to Libnah and its king. So Joshua struck all the land, the hill country, and the Negev, and the lowlands and the slopes, and all their kings. He left no survivor. But he utterly destroyed all who breathed, just as the Lord, the God of Israel, had commanded. Joshua struck them from Kadesh Barnea, even as far as Gaza, and all the country of Goshen, even as far as Gibeon. Joshua captured all the kings and their lands at one time, because the Lord, the God of Israel, fought for Israel. So Joshua and all Israel with him returned to the camp at Gilgal. Northern Canaan taken. Chapter 11. Then it came about, when Jabin, the king of Hazor, heard about it, that he sent word to Jobab, king of Madon, to the king of Shimron, to the king of Akshap, and to the kings who were in the north in the hill country, and in the Arabah south of Chinareth, and in the lowland on the heights of Doron, the west, to the Canaanite on the east and on the west, and the Amorite, the Hittite, the Perizzite, and the Jebusite in the hill country, and the Hivite at the foot of Hermon in the land of Mizpah. Then they came out, they and all their armies with them, as many people as the sand that is on the seashore, with very many horses and chariots. So all of these kings gathered together, and came and encamped together again at the waters of Memron to fight against Israel. Yet the Lord said to Joshua, "Do not be afraid, because of them, for tomorrow at this time I am going to turn all of them over to you, Israel, as good as dead. You shall harm you shall hamstring their horses and burn their chariots with fire." So Joshua and all the people of war with him came upon them and suddenly at the waters of Merom and attacked them. And the Lord handed them over to Israel, so that they defeated them and pursued them as far as Great Sidon and Mesrephoth Maim and the valley of Mizpah to the east, and they struck them until no survivor was left to them. And Joshua did to them just as the Lord had told them. He hamstrung their horses and burned their chariots with fire. Then Joshua turned back at that time and captured Hazor and struck its king with the sword, for Hazor previously was the head of all these kingdoms. They struck every person who was in it with the edge of the sword, utterly destroying them. There was no one left who breathed, and he burned Hazor with fire. Joshua captured all the cities of these kings and all their kings, and he struck them with the edge of the sword and utterly destroyed them, just as Moses, the servant of the Lord, had commanded. However, Israel did not burn any cities that stood on their mounds, except Hazor alone, which Joshua burned. And all the spoils of these cities and the cattle, the sons of Israel took as their plunder, but they struck every person with the edge of the sword until they had destroyed them. They left no one breathing, just as the Lord had commanded his servant Moses. So Moses commanded Joshua, and so Joshua did. He left nothing undone of all that the Lord had commanded Moses. So Joshua took all that land, the hill country, and all the Negev, and all the land of Goshen, and the lowland, the Arabah, the hill country of Israel, and its lowland from Mount Halak that rises towards Seir, even as far as Baal Gad in the valley of Lebanon, at the foot of Mount Hermon. And he captured all their kings and struck them and put them to death. Joshua waged war a long time with all these kings. There was not a city which made peace with the sons of Israel except the Hivites living in Gibeon. They took them all in battle, for it was of the Lord to harden their hearts to meet Israel in battle, in order that he might utterly destroy them, that they might receive no mercy, but that he might destroy them, just as the Lord had commanded Moses. Then Joshua came at that time and eliminated the Anakim from the hill country, from Hebron, Debir, Anab, and from all the hill country of Judah and all the hill country of Israel. Joshua utterly destroyed them with their cities. There were no Anakim left in the land of the sons of Israel. Only in Gaza, Gath, and Ashdod some remained. So Joshua took the whole land in accordance with everything that the Lord had spoken to Moses, and Joshua gave it as an inheritance to Israel, according to their divisions by their tribes. So the land was at rest from war. Kings defeated by Israel. Now these are the kings of the land whom the sons of Israel defeated, and they took possession of their land beyond the Jordan toward the sunrise, from the valley of Arnon as far as Mount Hermon, and all the Arabah to the east. Sihon, king of the Amorites, who lived in Heshbon and ruled over Aroer, which is on the edge of the valley of Arnon, both the middle of the valley and half of Gilead, even as far as the brook Jabbok, the border of the sons of Ammon, and the Arabah, as far as the sea of Chinneroth toward the east, and as far as the sea of the Arabah, that is the salt sea, eastward toward Beth Jeshimoth, and on the south at the foot of the slopes at Pisgah, and the territory of Og, king of Bashan, one of the remnant of Rephaim, who lived at Ashtoroth and at Adri, and ruled over Mount Hermon, Selecah, and all Bashan, as far as the border of the Geshurites and the Maccathites, and half of Gilead, as far as the border of Sihon, king of Heshbon. Moses, the servant of the Lord, and the sons of Israel defeated them. And Moses, the servant of the Lord, gave it to the Reubenites, the Gadites, and half the tribe of Manasseh as a possession. Now these are the kings of the land whom Joshua and the sons of Israel defeated beyond the Jordan, toward the west from Baal Gad and the valley of Lebanon, even as far as Mount Halak, which rises toward Seir. And Joshua gave it to the tribes of Israel as a possession, according to their divisions. And the hill country and the lowland, and the Arabah on the slopes, and the wilderness, and in the Negev, the Hittite, the Amorite, and the Canaanite, the Perizzite, and the Hivite, and the Jebusite. The king of Jericho, 1. The king of Ai, which is beside Bethel, 1. The king of Jerusalem, 1. The king of Hebron, 1. The king of Jarmuth, 1. The king of Lachish, 1. The king of Eglon, 1. The king of Jazer, 1. The king of Debir, 1. The king of Geder, 1. The king of Hormah, 1. The king of Arad, 1. The king of Libnah, 1. The king of Adullam, 1. The king of Makeda, 1. The king of Bethel, 1. The king of Tappuah, 1. The king of Hepher, 1. The king of Aphek, 1. The king of Lasharon, 1. The king of Madon, 1. The king of Hazor, 1. The king of Shimron Meron, 1. The king of Akshapah, 1. The king of Tanakh, 1. The king of Megiddo, 1. The king of Kadesh, 1. The king of Jokneam and Carmel, 1. The king of Dor and the heights of Dor, 1. The king of Goiim and Gilgal, 1. The king of Tirzah, 1. And all 31 kings. Canaan divided among the tribes. Chapter 13. Now Joshua was old and advanced in years when the Lord said to him, You are old and advanced in years, and a very large amount of the land remains to be possessed. This is the land that remains, all the regions of the Philistine, and all those of the Geshurites, from the Shihor, which is of east of Egypt, even as far as the border of Ekron to the north. It is counted as Canaanite. The 5 governors of the Philistines, the Gazite, the Ashdodite, the Ashkelonite, the Gittite, the Ekronite, and the Avite, to the south, all the land of the Canaanite, and Meara, that belongs to the Sidonians, as far as Aphek, to the border of the Amorite, and the land of the Gebelite, and all the Lebanon, toward the east of Baal Gad, below Mount Hermon, as far as Lebo Hamath. All the inhabitants of the hill country from Lebanon, as far as Misrephoth Maim, all the Sidonians, I will drive out from the sons of Israel. Only allotted to Israel as an inheritance, as I have commanded you. Now therefore, apportion this land as an inheritance to the 9 tribes and the half tribe of Manasseh. With the other half tribe, the Reubenites and the Gadites received their inheritance, which Moses gave them beyond the Jordan to the east, just as Moses, the servant of the Lord, gave to them from Aroer, which is on the edge of the valley of Arnon, with the city which is in the middle of the valley, and all the plain of Medeba as far as Debon, and all the cities of Sihon, king of the Amorites, who reigned in Heshbon as far as the border of the sons of Ammon and Gilead, and the territory, the Geshurites, and the Maccathites, and all Mount Hermon, and all Bashan, as far as Selecah, all the kingdom of Og and Bashan, who reigned in Ashtaroth and in Edrei. He alone was left of the remnant of Rephaim. For Moses struck them and drove them out. But the sons of Israel did not drive out the Geshurites or the Maccathites. Instead, Geshur and Machath live among Israel to this day. Only to the tribe of Levi he did not give an inheritance. The offerings by fire to the Lord, the God of Israel, are their inheritance, as he spoke to them. So Moses gave an inheritance to the tribe of the sons of Reuben, according to their families. Their territory was from Aroer, which is on the edge of the valley of the Arnon, with the city which is in the middle of the valley, and all the plain of Medeba, Heshbon, and all its cities, which are on the plain, Dibon, Bamoth, Baal Beth, Baal Meon, Jahaz, Kadimoth, Methphaath, Kiriathaim, Sibnah, Zerath, Shachar on the hill of the valley, Beth Peor, the slopes of Pigas, Beth Jeshimoth, and even all the cities of the plain, and all the kingdom of Sihon, king of the Amorites, who reigned in Heshbon, whom Moses struck with the leaders of Midian. Evi, Rechem, Zur, Hur, and Reba, the leaders of Sion, who lived in the land. The sons of Israel also killed Balaam, the son of Beor, the diviner, with the sword among the rest of their dead. The border of the sons of Reuben was the Jordan. This was the inheritance of the sons of Reuben, according to their families, the cities and their villages. Moses also gave an inheritance to the tribe of Gad, to the sons of Gad, according to their families. Their territory was Jazer and all the cities of Gilead, and half the land of the sons of Ammon, as far as the Aroer, which is opposite Rabbah, and from Heshbon as far as Ramath Mizpeh and Betonim, and from Mahanaim as far as the border of Debir, and in the valley of Beth Haram, Beth Nimrah, Succoth, and Zaphon. The rest of the kingdom of Sion, king of Heshbon, with the Jordan as a border as far as the lower end of the sea of Shenareth, beyond the Jordan to the east. This is the inheritance of the sons of God, according to their families, the city and their villages. Moses also gave an inheritance to the half tribe of Manasseh, and it was for the half tribe of the sons of Manasseh according to their families. Their territory was from Mahanaim, all Bashan, all the kingdom of Og, king of Bashan, and all the towns of Jair, which are in Bashan, 60 cities. Also half of Gilead, with Ashtaroth and Edgely, the cities of the kingdom of Og and Bashan, were for the sons of Machir, the sons of Manasseh, for half of the sons of Machir according to their families. These are the territories which Moses apportioned as an inheritance in the plains of Moab beyond the Jordan at Jericho to the east. But to the tribe of Levi, Moses did not give an inheritance. The Lord, the God of Israel, is their inheritance, as he had promised to them. Caleb's request, chapter 14. Now these are the territories which the sons of Israel inherited in the land of Canaan, which Eleazar the priest, Joshua the son of Nun, and the heads of the fathers' households of the tribes of the sons of Israel apportioned to them as an inheritance, by the lot of their inheritance. Just as the Lord commanded through Moses for the 9 tribes and the half tribe, for Moses had given the inheritance of 2 tribes and the half tribe beyond the Jordan. But he did not give an inheritance to the Levites among them. For the sons of Joseph were 2 tribes, Manasseh and Ephraim. And they did not give a portion to the Levites in the land except cities to live in, with their pasture lands for their livestock and for their property. The sons of Israel did exactly as the Lord had commanded Moses, and they divided the land. Then the sons of Judah approached Joshua in Gilgal and called the son of Jephunneh the Kizzites and said to him, "You know the word which the Lord spoke to Moses, the man of God, on account of you and me in Kadesh Barnea? I was 40 years old when Moses, the servant of the Lord, sent me from Kadesh Barnea to spy out the land, and I brought word back to him as it was in my heart. Nevertheless, my brothers who went up with me made the heart of the people melt with fear, but I followed the Lord my God fully. So Moses swore on that day, saying, The land on which your foot has walked shall certainly be an inheritance to you and to your children forever, because you have followed the Lord my God fully. And now behold, the Lord has let me live, just as he spoke these 45 years from that time that the Lord spoke this word to Moses, when Israel walked in the wilderness. And now behold, I am 85 years old today. I am still as strong today as I was on the day Moses sent me. As my strength was then, so my strength is now, for war and for going out and coming in. Now then, give me this hill country about which the Lord spoke on that day. For you heard on that day that Anakim were there, with great fortified cities. Perhaps the Lord will be with me, and I will drive them out, just as the Lord has spoken." So Joshua blessed him and gave Hebron to Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, as an inheritance. Therefore, Hebron became the inheritance of Caleb, the sons of Jephunneh, the Kenizzite, to this day, because he followed the Lord God of Israel fully. Now, the name of Hebron was previously Kiriath Arba, for Arba was the greatest man among the Anakim. Then the land was at rest from war. Territory of Judah. Now the lot for the tribe of the sons of Judah, according to their families, reached the border of Edom, southward to the wilderness of Zin, at the extreme south. Their southern border was from the lower end of the Salt Sea, from the bay that turns to the south. Then it proceeded southward to the ascent of Akrabim and continued to Zin. Then went up by the south of Kadesh Barnea and continued to Hezron, and went up to Adayar and continued to Karka and continued to Asmon and proceeded to the brook of Egypt, and the border ended at the sea. This shall be your southern border. The eastern border was the Salt Sea, as far as the mouth of the Jordan, and the border of the north side was from the bay of continued on north to Beth Arabah, and the border went up to the stone of Bohan, the son of Reuben. And the border went up to Debir from the valley of Achor, and turned northward toward Gilgal, which is opposite the ascent of Adumim, which is on the south of the valley. And the border continued to the waters of En Shemesh, and it ended at En Rogel. The border went up to the valley to Ben Hinnom, to the slope of the Jebusite on the south, that is Jerusalem. And the border went up to the top of the mountain, which is opposite the valley of Hinnom, to the west, which is at the end of the valley at Rephaim, toward the north. And from the top of the mountain, the border turned to the spring of the waters at Nephtoah, and proceeded to the cities of Mount Ephraim. Then the border turned to Baalah, that is Kiriath Jearim. The border turned from Baalah westward to Mount Seir, and continued to the slope of Mount Jearim on the north, that is Chesalon, and went down to Beth Shemesh, and continued through Timnah. Then the border proceeded to the side of Ekron northward, and the border turned to Shekaron, and continued to Mount Baalah, and proceeded to Jabneel, and the border ended at the sea. The western border was at the Great Sea, even its coastline. This is the border around the sons of Judah according to their families. Now he gave to Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, a portion among the sons of Judah in accordance with the command of the Lord to Joshua, namely Kiriath Arba, Arba being the father of Anak, that is Hebron. And Caleb drove out from there the three sons of Anak, Shishaiah, Ahiman, and Talmai, the children of Anak. Then he went up from there against the inhabitants of Debir. Now the name of Debir previously was Kiriath Sepher, and Caleb said, the one who attacks Kiriath Sepher and captures it, I will give him Akshash, my daughter, as a wife. Othniel, the son of Kenaz, the brother of Caleb, captured it, so he gave him Aksah, the daughter, as a wife. And it happened that when she came to him, she enticed him to ask her father for a field. So she dismounted from the donkey, and Caleb said to her, what do you want? Then she said, give me a blessing, since you have given me the land of Negev. Give me springs of water also. So he gave her the upper springs and the lower springs. This is the inheritance of the tribe of the sons of Judah, according to their families. Now the cities at the extremity of the tribe of the sons of Judah, toward the border of Edom, in the south of Kabziel, Eder, Jagur, Kenah, Dimona, and Adada, Kadesh, Hasor, Ithnan, Ziph, Telem, and Bealoth, Hazor, Harada, Kiriath Hezron, that is Hazor, Amam, Shema, and Malada, Hasor Gada, Heshman, and Beth Pelet, Hasar Shual, Beersheba, and Besiotiah, Beala, Aim, and Isam, Elatolad, Chesil, and Horma, Ziklag, Madamana, and Sansana, Lebaoth, Shilhim, Ain, and Rimmon, and all 29 cities with their villages in the lowland, Eshtaol, Zorah, and Ashna, Zanoah, Enganim, Tapua, and Anam, Jarmuth, Adullam, Soko, and Azekah, and Sharaim, Adathaim, Gedera, and Gaderothhaim, 14 cities with their villages, Zenan, Hadashah, and Migdal, Gad, Deline, Mizpah, and Joktheel, Lachish, Boxkat, and Eglon, Kaban, Lamas, and Chitlish, Gederath, Beth Dagon, Naama, and Makeda, 16 cities with their villages, Libnah, Ethar, and Ashan, Iftah, Ashna, and Nasib, Kala, Akzib, and Marashan, 9 cities with their villages, Ekron, with its own towns and its villages, from Ekron even to the sea, all that were by the side of Ashdod with their villages, Ashdod, its towns and its villages, Gaza, its towns and its villages, as far as the brook of Egypt and the great sea, even its coastline, In the hill country, Shamir, Jatir, and Soko, Dana, Kiriasana, that is Debir, Anab, Eshtemo, Anim, Goshen, Holon, and Gilo, 11 cities with their villages. Arab, Duma, and Ashan, Janum, Beth Tapua, and Afeka, Humta, Kiriath Arba, that is Hezron, and Zayor, 9 cities with their villages. Maon, Carmel, Ziph, and Judah, Jezreel, Jokdeam, and Zanoah, Cain, Gibeah, and Timnah, 10 cities with their villages. Halhul, Bethsur, and Judor, Mearath, Bethanath, and Eltekon, 6 cities with their villages. Kiriath Baal, that is Kiriath Jearim, and Rabath, 2 cities with their villages in the wilderness. Betharabah, Midden, and Sakaka. Nishban, the city of salt, and Engendi, 6 cities with their villages. Now, as for the Jebusites, the inhabitants of Jerusalem, the sons of Judah could not drive them out, so the Jebusites live with the sons of Judah in Jerusalem to this day. Territory of Ephraim. Then the lot for the sons of Joseph went from the Jordan at Jericho to the waters of Jericho on the east into the wilderness, going up from Jericho through the hill country to Bethel. It went from Bethel to Luz and continued to the border of the Archites at Ataroth. Then it went down westward to the territory of the Japhletites, as far as the territory of lower Beth Horon, even to Gezer, and it ended at the sea. The sons of Joseph, Manasseh, and Ephraim received their inheritance. Now, this was the territory of the sons of Ephraim according to their families. The border of their inheritance eastward was Ataroth Adar, as far as the upper Beth Horon. Then the border went westward at Mikmethoth on the north, and the border turned eastward at Taanath, Shiloh, and continued beyond it to the east of Janoah. Then it went down from Genoa to Ataroth and to Naara, then reached Jericho and came out at the Jordan from Tapua. The border continued westward to the brook of Canaan, and it ended at the sea. This is the inheritance of the sons of Ephraim according to their families, together with the cities which were set apart for the sons of Ephraim in the midst of the inheritance of the sons of Manasseh, all the cities with their villages. But they did not drive out the Canaanites who lived in Gezer. So the Canaanites live in the midst of Ephraim to this day, and they became forced laborers.
They would have priority in reading, and we just move our guys back.
The territory of Manasseh. Now this was the lot for the tribe of Manasseh, for he was the firstborn of Joseph. To Machir, the firstborn of Manasseh, the father of Gilead, were allotted Gilead and Bashan, because he was a man of war. So the lot was made for the rest of the sons of Manasseh according to their families. For the sons of Abiezer, the sons of Helek, the sons of Azriel, the sons of Shechem, the sons of Hefer, and the sons of Shemitah. These were the male descendants of Manasseh, the son of Joseph, according to their families. However, Zelophehad, the son of Hefer, the son of Gilead, the son of Machir, the son of Manasseh, had no sons, only daughters, and these are the names of his daughters: Mala, Noah, Hogla, Milcah, and Tirzah. They approached Eleazar, the priest, Joshua the son of Nun, and the leader sang, "The Lord commanded Moses to give us an inheritance among our brothers. So, in accordance with the command of the Lord, he gave them an inheritance among their father's brothers. So 10 portions fell to Manasseh beside the land of Gilead and Bashan, which is beyond the Jordan, because the daughters of Manasseh received an inheritance among his sons, and the land of Gilead belonged to the rest of the sons of Manasseh. The border of Manasseh ran from Asher to Mikmathoth, which was east of Shechem. Then the border went southward to the inhabitants of Tapua. The land of Tapua belonged to Manasseh, but Tapua on the border of Manasseh belonged to the sons of Ephraim. And the border went down to the brook of Kanah. Southward of the brook of these cities belonged to Ephraim. Among the cities of Manasseh, and the border of Manasseh was on the north side of the brook, and it ended at the sea. The south side belonged to Ephraim, and the north side to Manasseh. and the sea was their border, and they reached to Asher, and on the north to Issachar on the east. In Issachar and in Asher, Manasseh had Beth Shean and its towns, and Ibleam and Iblam and its towns, and the inhabitants of Dor and its towns, and the inhabitants of Endor and its towns, and the inhabitants of Tanakh and its towns, and the inhabitants of Megiddo and its towns. The third is Mapheth. The sons of Manasseh could not take possession of these cities because the Canaanites persisted in living in this land. And it came about when the sons of Israel became strong, they put the Canaanites to forced labor, but they did not drive them out completely. Then the sons of Joseph spoke to Joshua, saying, "Why haven't you given me only one lot and one portion as an inheritance, though I am a numerous people whom the Lord has blessed up to this point?" And Joshua said to them, "If you are a numerous people, go up to the forest and clear a place for yourself there in the land of the Perizzites and of the Rephaim, since the hill country of Ephraim is too narrow for you." The sons of Joseph then said, "The hill country is not enough for us, but all the Canaanites who live in the valley land have iron chariots, both those who are in Beth Shean and its towns, and those who are in the valley of Jezreel." But Joshua spoke to the house of Joseph, to Ephraim and Manasseh, saying, "You are a numerous people and have great power. You shall not have one lot only, but the hill country shall be yours. For though it is a forest, you shall clear it, and to its farthest borders it shall be yours. For you shall drive out the Canaanites, even though they have iron chariots, and though they are strong." The rest of the land divided. Chapter 18. Then the whole congregation of the sons of Israel assembled at Shiloh, and set up the tent of meeting there, and the land was subdued before them. But there remained among the sons of Israel 7 tribes who had not divided their inheritance. So Joshua said to the sons of Israel, "How long will you put off entering to take possession of the land which the Lord, the God of your fathers, has given you? Provide for yourselves 3 men from each tribe, so that I may send them, and that they may arise and walk through the land and write a description of it according to their inheritance. Then they shall return to me, and they shall divide it into 7 portions. Judah shall stay in its territory on the south, and the house of Joseph shall stay in their territory on the north. And you shall write a description of the land in 7 divisions, and bring the description here to me. Then I will cast lots for you here before the Lord our God. For the Levites have no portion among you, because the priesthood of the Lord is their inheritance. Gad, Reuben, and half the tribe of Manasseh also have received their inheritance eastward beyond the Jordan, which Moses, the servant of the Lord, gave them." Then the men arose and went, and Joshua commanded those who went to write a description of the land, saying, "Go and walk through the land and write a description of it and return to me. Then I will cast lots for you here before the Lord in Shiloh." So the men went and passed through the land and wrote a description of it by cities in 7 divisions in a book. And they came to Joshua at the camp at Shiloh. Joshua then cast lots for them in Shiloh before the Lord, and there Joshua divided the land for the sons of Israel according to their divisions. The territory of Benjamin. Now the lot of the tribe of the sons of Benjamin came up according to their families, and the territory of their lot lay between the sons of Judah and the sons of Joseph. Their border on the north side was from the Jordan, then the border went up to the side of Jericho on the north, and went up to the hill country westward, and it ended at the wilderness of Bethaven. Then from there the border continued to Luz, to the side of Luz, that is Bethel, southward, and till the border went down to Ataroth Adar, near the hill which lies on the south of Lower Beth Horon. And the border changed direction from there and turned around on the west side southward, from the hill which lies opposite Beth Horon southward, and it ended at Kiriath Baal, that is Kiriath Jearim, a city of the sons of Judah. This was the west side. Then the south side from the edge of Kiriath Jearim and the border westward, and went to the fountain of the waters of Nephtoah. Then the border went down to the edge of the hill which is in the valley of the Ben Hinnom, which is in the valley of the Rephaim northward, and it went down to the valley of Hinnom, to the slope of the Jebusites southward, and went down to Enrogel. Then it turned northward and went to En Shemesh, and went to Gililoth, which is opposite the ascent of Adumim. And it went down to the stone of Boan, the son of Reuben. And it continued to the side in front of the Arabah northward, and went down to the Arabah. Then the border continued to the side of Beth Hoglah northward, and the border ended at the north bay of the Salt Sea at the south end of the Jordan. This was the southern border. Moreover, The Jordan was its border on the east side. This was the inheritance of the sons of Benjamin according to their families and according to its borders all around. Now the cities of the tribe of the sons of Benjamin according to their families were Jericho, Beth Hoglah, and Emek Kaziz, Beth Araba, Zemaraim, and Bethel, Avaim, Para, and Ophrah, Shafar, Ammoni, Ophni, and Geba, 12 cities with their villages, Gibeon, Ramah, and Beeroth, Mizpah, Shephirah, and Moza, Rechem, Irpil, and Tarala, Zela, Hayeleth, the Jebusite city that is Jerusalem, Gibeah, Kiriath, 14 cities with their villages. This is the inheritance of the sons of Benjamin according to their families. Territory of Simeon. Then the second lot went to Simeon, to the tribe of the sons of Simeon, according to their families, and their inheritance was in the midst of the inheritance of the sons of Judah. So they had in their inheritance Beersheba, or Sheba, and Molada, Hasar, Shual, Bala, and Ezem, El Tolad, Bethel, and Hormah, Siklag, Beth Marakaboth, and Hazar Susa, Beth Labaioth, and Sharuhen, 13 cities with their villages. Ain, Rimmon, Ether, and Ashan, 4 cities with their villages, and all the villages which were around these cities as far as Baalath Beer, Ramah of the Negev. This was the inheritance of the tribe of the sons of Simeon according to their families. The inheritance of the sons of Simeon was taken from the portion of the sons of Judah because the share of the sons of Judah was too large for them. So the sons of Simeon received an inheritance in the midst of Judah's inheritance. Territory of the Zebulun. Now the third lot came up for the sons of Zebulun according to their families, and the territory of their inheritance was as far as Sarid. Then their border went up to the west and to Marala, and it reached Dabasheth and reached to the brook that is opposite Joknaim. Then it turned to Sarid to the east toward the sunrise, as far as the border of Chisloth Tabor, and it proceeded to Dabarath and up to Japhiah. From there it continued eastward toward the sunrise to Gath Hefer, to Eth Kazin, and it proceeded to Ramon, which stretches to Nia. Then the border circled around it on the north and to Hanathon, and it ended at the valley of Iftahel. Included also were Kata, Nahalal, Shimron, Adala, and Bethlehem, 12 cities with their villages. This was the inheritance of the son of the Zebulun, according to their families, these cities with their villages. Territory of Issachar. The fourth lot went to Issachar, the sons of Issachar, according to their families. Their territory was to Jezreel and included Chesuloth, Shunem, Haphraim, Shion, and Anaharath, Rabith, Kishion, and Ebes, Rameth, and Ganim, and Hadah, and Beth Paziz. The border reached to Tabor, Shahazumah, and Beth Shemesh, and their border ended at Jordan, 16 cities with their villages. This was the inheritance of the tribe of the sons of Issachar, according to their families, the cities with their villages. Territory of Asher. Now the fifth lot went to the tribe of the sons of Asher according to their families. Their territory was Helkath, Hali, Beton, and Akshaph, Alamelech, Amad, and Mishal, and it reached to Carmel on the west and to Shihor Libnath. It turned toward the east to Beth Dagon and reached Zebulun and to the valley of Iftahel, northward of Bethamek and Naiel. Then it proceeded on north to Kabul, Evran, Rehob, Haman, and Kana as far as Great Sidon. The border turned to Ramah and to the fortified city of Tyre. Then the border turned to Hosa and it ended at the sea by the region of Akzib. It included also were Yuma, Aphek, and Rehob, 22 cities with their villages. This was the inheritance of the tribe of the sons of Asher according to their families, these cities with their villages. Territory of the Naphtali. The sixth lot went to the sons of the Naphtali, to the sons of Naphtali, to the sons of Merari according to their families. 12 cities were given from the tribe of Reuben, from the tribe of Gad, and from the tribe of Zebulun. Now the sons of Israel gave by lot to the Levite these cities with their pasture lands, as the Lord had commanded through Moses. They gave these cities, which are mentioned here by name, from the tribe of the sons of Judah and from the tribe of the sons of Simeon, and they were for the sons of Aaron, one of the families of the Kohathites, and of the sons of Levi, because the law was theirs first. So they gave them Kiriath Arba, Arba being the father of Anak. This is Hebron in the hill country of Judah, with its surrounding pasture lands. But the fields of the city and its villages they gave to Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, as his possession. So to the sons of Aaron, the priest, they gave Hebron, the city of refuge, for the one who commits manslaughter, with its pasture lands, Libnah with its pasture lands, Jatir with its pasture lands, Eshtemoa with its pasture lands, Holon with its pasture lands, Dabair with its pasture lands, Ain with its pasture lands, Judah with its pasture lands, and Beth Shemesh with its pasture lands. 9 cities from these 2 tribes. From the tribe of Benjamin, Gibeon with its pasture lands, Jeba with its pasture lands, Anathoth with its pasture lands, and Ammon with its pasture lands. 4 cities. All the cities of the sons of Aaron, the priests, were 13 cities with their pasture lands. Then the cities from the tribe of Ephraim were allotted to the families of the sons of Kohath, the Levites. That is to the rest of the sons of Kohath. They gave them Shechem, the city of refuge, for the one who commits manslaughter with its pasture lands in the hill country of Ephraim, and Gezer with its pasture lands, and Kibzaim with its pasture lands, and Beth Horon with its pasture lands, 4 cities. And from the tribe of Dai, and from the tribe of Dan, Eltiki with its pasture lands, Gibbethon with its pasture lands, Aijalon with its pasture lands, Gathramon with its pasture lands, 4 cities from the tribe of Manasseh. They allotted Taanach with its pasture lands, and Gathramon with its pasture lands, 2 cities. All the cities with their pasture lands for their families of the rest of the sons of Kohath were 10. And to the sons of Gershon, one of the families of the Levites, from the half tribe of the Manasseh, they gave Golan and Bashan, the city of refuge for the one who commits manslaughter, with its pasture lands, and Beeshtara with its pasture lands, 2 cities. And from the tribe of Issachar, they gave Kishion with its pasture lands, Debarath with its pasture lands, Jarmuth with its pasture lands, and Enganim with its pasture lands, 4 cities. From the tribe of Asher, they gave Mishal with its pasture lands, Abdon with its pasture lands, Helkath with its pasture lands, and Rehob with its pasture lands, 4 cities. And from the tribe of Naphtali, they gave Kadesh and Galilee, the city of refuge for the one who commits manslaughter, with its pasture lands, Hamath Dor with its pasture lands, and Kartan with its pasture lands, 3 cities. All the cities of the Gershonites, according to their families, were 13 cities with their pasture lands. And to the families of the sons of Merari, the rest of the Levites, they gave from the tribe of Zebulun Jokneam with its pasture lands, Karta with its pasture lands, Dimnah with its pasture lands, and Nahalal with its pasture lands, 4 cities. From the tribe of Reuben, they gave Bazir with its pasture lands, Jahaz with its pasture lands, Kademoth with its pasture lands, and Mephaath with its pasture lands, 4 cities. And from the tribe of Gad, they gave Ramoth and Gilead, the city of refuge for the one who commits manslaughter, with its pasture lands, Machanaim with its pasture lands, Heshbon with its pasture lands, and Jazir with its pasture lands, 4 cities in all. All these were the cities of the sons of Merari according to their families. The rest of the families of the Levites and their lot was 12 cities. All the cities of the Levites in the midst of the possession of the sons of Israel were 48 cities with their pasture lands. These cities individually had their surrounding pasture lands. This is how it was with all these cities. So the Lord gave Israel all the land which he had sworn to give their fathers, and they took possession of them and lived in it. And the Lord gave them rest on every side, in accordance with everything that he had sworn to their fathers. And no one of them, and no one of all their enemies stood before them. The Lord handed all their enemies over to them. Not one of the good promises which the Lord had made to the house of Israel failed. Everything came to pass. Tribes beyond the Jordan, chapter 22. Then Joshua summoned the Reubenites and the Gadites and the half tribe of Manasseh and said to them, "You have kept all that Moses, the servant of the Lord, commanded you, and have listened to my voice and all that I commanded you. You have not abandoned your brothers these many days to this day, but have fulfilled the obligation of the commandment of the Lord your God. And now the Lord your God has given rest to your brothers as he spoke to them. Therefore, turn now and go to your tents, to the land of your possession, which Moses, the servant of the Lord, gave you beyond the Jordan. Only be very careful to follow the commandment and the law which Moses, the servant of the Lord, commanded you, to love the Lord your God and walk in all his ways, and keep his commandments, and cling to him and serve him with all your heart and with all your soul." So Joshua blessed them and sent them away, and they went to their tents. Now to the one half tribe of Manasseh, Moses had given a possession in Bashan, but to the other half, Joshua gave a possession among their brothers westward beyond the Jordan. So when Joshua sent them away to their tents, he also blessed them and said to them, "Return to your tents with great riches and with very many livestock, with silver, gold, bronze, iron, and with very many clothes. Divide the spoils of your enemies with your brothers." So the sons of Reuben, the sons of Gad, and the half tribe of Manasseh returned home, leaving the sons of Israel at Shiloh, which is in the land of Canaan, to go to the land of Gilead, to the land of their possession, in which they had settled in accordance with the command of the Lord through Moses. The offensive altar. When they came to the region of the Jordan, which is in the land of Canaan, the sons of Reuben, the sons of Gad, and the half tribe of Manasseh built an altar there by the Jordan, a large altar in appearance. But the sons of Israel heard a report. "Behold, the sons of Reuben, the sons of Gad, and the half tribe of Manasseh have built an altar at the frontier of the land of Canaan in the region of the Jordan, on the side belonging to the sons of Israel." And when the sons of Israel heard about it, the entire congregation of the sons of Israel assembled at Shiloh to go up against them in battle. Then the sons of Israel sent to the sons of Reuben, to the sons of Gad, and to the half tribe of Manasseh, and the land of Gilead, Phinehas, and the son of Eleazar the priest, and with him 10 leaders, one leader for each father's household from each of the tribes of Israel, and each one of them was the head of his father's household among the thousands of Israel. They came to the sons of Reuben, the sons of Gad, to the half tribe of Manasseh in the land of Gilead, and they spoke with them, saying, "This is what the whole congregation of the Lord says. What is this unfaithful act which you have committed against the God of Israel, turning away from following the Lord this day by building yourselves an altar to rebel against the Lord this day? Is the wrongdoing of Peor not enough for us, from which we have not cleansed ourselves to this day? Although a plague came on the congregation of the Lord, that you must turn away this day from following the Lord. If you rebel against the Lord today, he will be angry with the entire congregation of Israel tomorrow. If, however, the land of your possession is unclean, then cross into the land of the possession of the Lord, where the Lord's tabernacle stands, and settle among us. Only do not rebel against the Lord, or rebel against us, by building an altar for yourselves beside the altar of the Lord our God. Did Achan and Zerah not act unfaithfully in the things designated for destruction, and wrath fall on the entire congregation of Israel? So the man did not perish alone in his guilt. Then the sons of Reuben, the sons of Gad, and the half tribe of Manasseh answered and spoke to the heads of the families of Israel. "The mighty one, God, the Lord, the mighty one, God, the Lord. He knows, and may Israel itself know. If it was in rebellion, or if in an unfaithful act against the Lord, do not save us this day. If we have built us an altar to turn away from following the Lord, or if to offer a burnt offering or grain offering on it, or if to offer sacrifices of peace offering on it, may the Lord himself demand it. But truly we have done this out of concern, for a reason, saying, In time to come your sons may say to our sons, What have you to do with the Lord God, the God of Israel? For the Lord has made the Jordan a border between us and you. You, sons of Reuben and sons of Gad, you have no portion in the Lord, so your sons may make our sons stop fearing the Lord. Therefore we said, Let's build an altar, not for burnt offering or for sacrifice. Rather, It shall be a witness between us and you, and between our generations after us, that we are to perform the service of the Lord before him with our burnt offerings, our sacrifices, and with our peace offerings, so that your sons will not say to our sons in time to come, you have no portion in the Lord. Therefore we said, it shall also come about if they say this to us or to our generations in time to come, then we shall say, see the copy of the altar of the Lord, which our fathers made, not for burnt offering or for sacrifice. Rather, it is a witness between us and you. Far be it from us that we should rebel against the Lord and turn away from following the Lord this day by building an altar for burnt offering, for grain offering, or for sacrifice, besides the altar of the Lord our God, which is before his tabernacle. So when Phinehas, the priest and the leaders of the congregation, that is, the heads of the families of Israel who were with him, heard the words which the sons of Reuben, the sons of Gad, and the sons of Manasseh spoke, it pleased them. And Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, the priest, the sons of Reuben, the sons of Gad, and the sons of Manasseh, today we know that the Lord is in our midst, because you have not committed this unfaithful act against the Lord. Now you have saved the sons of Israel from the hand of the Lord. Then Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, the priest, and the leaders returned from the sons of Reuben and from the sons of Gad, from the land of Gilead to the land of Canaan, to the sons of Israel, and brought back word to them. The word pleased the sons of Israel, and the sons of Israel blessed God, and they did not speak of going up against them in battle to destroy the land in which the sons of Reuben and the sons of Gad were living. And the sons of Reuben and the sons of Gad called the altar witness, for they said, it is a witness between us that the Lord is God. Joshua's farewell address, chapter 23. Now it came about after many days when the Lord had given rest to Israel from all their enemies on every side, and Joshua was old, advanced in years, that Joshua called for Israel, for their elders, their heads, their judges, and their officers, and said to them, I am old, advanced in years, and you have seen all that the Lord your God has done to all these nations because of you. For the Lord your God is he who has been fighting for you. See, I have apportioned to you these nations which remain as an inheritance for your tribes, with all the nations which I have eliminated from the Jordan, even to the great sea toward the west. And the Lord your God, he will thrust them away from you and drive them from you, and you will take possession of their land, just as the Lord your God promised you. Be very determined then to keep and do everything that is written in the book of the law of Moses, so that you will not turn aside from it to the right or to the left, so that you will not associate with these nations, these which remain with you, or mention the name of their gods, or make anyone swear by them, or serve them, or bow down to them. But you are to cling to the Lord your God, as you have done to this day. For the Lord has driven out great and mighty nations from before you, and as for you, no one has stood against you to this day. One of your men puts to flight 1,000, for the Lord your God is he who fights for you, just as he promised you. So take great care for yourselves that you love the Lord your God. For if you ever go back and cling to the rest of these nations, these which remain with you, and intermarry with them, so that you associate with them and they with you, know with certainty that the Lord your God will not continue to drive these nations out from before you, but they will be a snare and a trap to you, and a whip on your sides, and thorns in your eyes, until you perish from this good land which the Lord your God has given you. Now behold, today I am going the way of all the earth, and you know in all your hearts and in all your souls that not one word of all the good words which the Lord your God spoke concerning you has failed. They have all been fulfilled for you. Not one of them has failed. But it will come about just as all the good words which the Lord your God spoke to you have come upon you. So the Lord will bring upon you all the warnings until he has eliminated you from this good land which the Lord your God has given you. When you violate the covenant of the Lord your God, which he commanded you, and you go and serve other gods and bow down to them, then the anger of the Lord will burn against you, and you will perish quickly from the good land which he has given you. Joshua's review. Joshua reviews Israel's history. Chapter 24. Then Joshua gathered all the tribes of Israel at Shechem and called them for the elders of Israel, their heads, their judges, and their officers, and they presented themselves before God. Joshua said to all the people, this is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says. From ancient times your fathers lived beyond the Euphrates River, namely the Terah, the father of Abraham, the father of Nahor, and they served other gods. Then I took your father Abraham from behind the Euphrates River and led him through all the land of Canaan and multiplied his descendants and gave him Isaac. To Isaac I gave Jacob, and Jacob Esau, and Esau I gave Mount Seir to possess it. But Jacob and his sons went down to Egypt. Then I sent Moses and Aaron, and I plagued Egypt by what I did in its midst. And afterward I brought you out. So I brought your fathers out of Egypt, and you came to the sea, and Egypt pursued your fathers with chariots and horsemen to the Red Sea. But when they cried out to the Lord, he put darkness between you and the Egyptians, and brought the sea upon them, and covered them. And your own eyes saw what I did in Egypt, and you lived in the wilderness for a long time. Then I brought you into the land of the Amorites, who lived beyond the Jordan, and they fought with you. But I handed them over to you, and you took possession of the land when I eliminated them from before you. Then Balak, the son of Zippor, the king of Moab, rose up and fought against Israel, and sent messengers and summoned Balaam, the son of Beor, to curse you. But I was not willing to listen to Balaam. So he had to bless you, and I saved you from his hand. You crossed the Jordan and came to Jericho, and the citizens of Jericho fought against you, and the Amorite, the Perizzite, the Canaanite, the Hittite, the Girgashite, the Hivite, and the Jebusite. Therefore, I handed them over to you. Then I sent the hornet before you, and it drove out the two kings of the Amorites from before you, not by your sword, nor your bow. And I gave you a land on which you had not labored, and cities which you had not built, and you have lived in them. You are eating of vineyards and olive groves which you did not plant. We will serve the Lord. Now therefore fear the Lord and serve him in sincerity and truth, and do away with gods which your fathers served beyond the Euphrates River and in Egypt, and serve the Lord. But if it is disagreeable in your sight to serve the Lord, choose for yourselves today whom you will serve, whether the gods which your fathers served, which were beyond the Euphrates River, or the gods of the Amorites in whose land you are living. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. The people answered and said, far be it from us that we would abandon the Lord to serve other gods. For the Lord our God is he who brought us and our fathers up out of the land of Egypt, from the house of slaves, and did these great signs in our sight, and watched over us through all the way in which we went, and among all the peoples through whose midst we passed. The Lord drove out from before us all the peoples, even the Amorites who lived in the land. We also will serve the Lord, for he is our God. Then Joshua said to the people, you will not be able to serve the Lord, for he is a holy God. He is a jealous God. He will not forgive your wrongdoing or your sins. If you abandon the Lord and serve foreign gods, then he will turn and do you harm and destroy you after he has done good to you. And the people said to Joshua, no, but we will serve the Lord. So Joshua said to the people, you are witnesses against yourselves that you have chosen for yourselves the Lord to serve him. And they said, we are witnesses. Now then, do away with the foreign gods which are in your midst, and incline your hearts to the Lord, the God of Israel. And the people said to Joshua, we will serve the Lord our God and obey his voice. So Joshua made a covenant with the people that day, and made for them a statute and an ordinance in Shechem. And Joshua wrote these words in the book of the law of God, and took a large stone and set it up there under the oak that was by the sanctuary of the Lord. Then Joshua said to all the people, behold, this stone shall be a witness against us, because it has heard all the words of the Lord which he spoke to us. So it shall be a witness against you, so that you do not deny your God. Then Joshua dismissed the people, each to his inheritance. Joshua's death and burial. Now it came about after these things that Joshua the son of Nun, the servant of the Lord, died, being 110 years old. And they buried him in the territory of his inheritance in Timnath Serah, which is in the hill country of Ephraim, on the north mount of Gaash. Israel served the Lord all the days of Joshua and all the days of the elders who survived Joshua, and had known every deed of the Lord which he had done for Israel. Now they buried the bones of Joseph, which the sons of Israel brought up from Egypt at Shechem, in the plot of land which Jacob had brought from the sons of Hamor, the father of Shechem, for 100 pieces of money, and they became the inheritance of Joseph's son. And Eleazar, the son of Aaron, died, and they buried him in Gibeah, the town of his son Phinehas, which was given to him in the hill country of Ephraim. Judges chapter 1. Jerusalem is captured. Now it came about after the death of Joshua that the sons of Israel inquired of the Lord, saying, who shall go up first for us against the Canaanites to fight against them? The Lord said, Judah shall go up. Behold, I have handed the land over to him. Then Judah said to his brother Simeon, go up with me into the territory allotted me, and let's fight the Canaanites, and I in turn will go with you into the territory allotted you. So Simeon went with him. Judah went up, and the Lord handed over to them the Canaanites and the Perizzites, and they defeated 10,000 men at Bezek. They found Adoni Bezek and Bezek and fought against him, and they defeated the Canaanites and the Perizzite. But Adoni Bezek fled, and they pursued him and caught him, and cut off his thumbs and big toes. And Adoni-Bezek said, 70 kings with their thumbs and their big toes cut off used to gather up scraps under my table, as I have done. So God has repaid me. So they brought him to Jerusalem, and he died there. Then the sons of Judah fought against Jerusalem and captured and struck it with the edge of the sword and set the city on fire. Afterwards, the son of Judah went down to fight against the Canaanites living in the hill country and in the Negev and in the lowland. So Judah went against the Canaanites who lived in Hebron. The name of Hebron was previously Kiriath Arba, and they struck Shishai, Ahaman, and Talmai. Then from there, he went against the inhabitants of Debir. The name of Debir was previously Kiriath Sefer. And Caleb said, whoever attacks Kiriath Sefer and captures it, I will give him my daughter Akshash as a wife. Now, Othniel, the son of Kenaz, Caleb's younger brother, captured it. So he gave him his daughter Aksah as a wife. Then it happened that when she came to him, she incited him to ask her father for a field. Then later she dismounted from her donkey, and Caleb said to her, what do you want? She said to him, give me a blessing, since you have given me the land of the Negev. Give me springs of water also. So Caleb gave her the upper springs and the lower springs. Now the descendants of the Kenite, Moses, his father-in-law, went up from the city of palms with the sons of Judah to the wilderness of Judah, which is in the south of Arad, and they went and lived with the people. Then Judah went with his brother Simeon, and they struck the Canaanites living in Zaphath and utterly destroyed it. So the name of the city was called Hormah. And Judah took Gaza with its territory, Ashkelon with its territory, Ekron with its territory. Now the Lord was with Judah, and they took possession of the hill country, but they could not drive out the inhabitants of the valley, because they had iron chariots. Then they gave Hebron to Caleb as Moses had promised, and he drove out from there the 3 sons of Anak. But the sons of Benjamin did not drive out the Jebusites who lived in Jerusalem. So the Jebusites have lived with the sons of Benjamin in Jerusalem to this day. Likewise, the house of Joseph went up against Bethel, and the Lord was with them. The house of Joseph had men spy out Bethel. The name of the city was previously Luz. And the spies saw a man coming out of the city, and they said to him, please show us the entrance to the city, and we will treat you kindly. So he showed them the entrance to the city, and they struck the city with the edge of the sword. But they let the man and all his family go free. Then the man went to the land of the Hittites and built a city and named it Luz, which is its name to this day. Places not conquered. But Manasseh did not take possession of Beth Shean and its villages, or Taanach and its villages, or the inhabitants of Dor and its villages, or the inhabitants of Eblaim and its villages, or the inhabitants of Megiddo and its villages. So the Canaanites persisted in living in the land. And it came about when Israel became strong that they put the Canaanites to forced labor, but they did not drive them out completely. And Ephraim did not drive out the Canaanites who were living in Jazer, so the Canaanites lived in Jazer among them. Zebulun did not drive out the inhabitants of Catron or the inhabitants of Nahalol, so the Canaanites lived among them and became subject to forced labor. Asher did not drive out the inhabitants of Akko or the inhabitants of Sidon or of Alab or Akzib, Helba, Afik, or of Rehob. So the Asherites lived among the Canaanites, the inhabitants of the land, for they did not drive them out. The Naphtali did not drive out the inhabitants of Beth Shemesh or the inhabitants of Beth Anath, but lived among the Canaanites. The inhabitants of the land and the inhabitants of Beth Shemesh and Beth Anath became forced labor for them. Then the Amorites forced the sons of Dan into the hill country, for they did not allow them to come down to the valley. Yet the Amorites persisted in living on Mount Heres and Ajalon and Shaalbaim. When the power of the house of Joseph grew strong, they became forced labor. The border of the Amorites ran from the ascent of Akrabim, from Selah and upward. Israel rebuke. Chapter 2. Now the angel of the Lord came up from Gilgal to Bochum, and he said, I brought you up out of Egypt and led you into the land which I have sworn to your fathers, and I said I will never break my covenant with you. And as for you, you shall not make a covenant with the inhabitants of this land. You shall tear down their altars, but you have not obeyed me. What is this thing you have done? Therefore, I also said, I will not drive them out from you, but they will become like thorns in your sides, and their gods will be a snare to you. Now, when the angel of the Lord spoke these words to all the sons of Israel, the people raised their voices and wept. They named the place Bochum, and there they sacrificed to the Lord. Joshua dies. When Joshua had dismissed the people, the sons of Israel went each one to his inheritance to take possession of the land. The people served the Lord all the days of Joshua, and all the days of the elders who survived Joshua, who had seen all the great work of the Lord, which he had done for Israel. Then Joshua the son of Nun, servant of the Lord, died at the age of 110, and they buried him in the territory of his inheritance in Timnath Heres, in the hill country of Ephraim, north of Mount Gaash. All the generations also were gathered to their fathers, and another generation rose up after them who did not know the Lord, nor even the work which he had done for Israel. Then the sons of Israel did evil in the sight of the Lord and served the Baal, and they abandoned the Lord their God of their fathers, who had brought them out of the land of Egypt. And they followed other gods from the gods of the peoples who were around them and bowed down to them. So they provoked the Lord to anger. They abandoned the Lord and served Baal and the Ashtaroth. Then the anger of the Lord burned against Israel, and he handed them over to plunders. And they plundered them, and he sold them into the hands of their enemies around them, so that they could no longer stand against their enemies. Wherever they went, the hand of the Lord was against them for evil, as the Lord had spoken, and just as the Lord had sworn to them, so that they were severely distressed. Then the Lord raised up judges who saved them from the hands of those who plundered them. Yet they did not listen to their judges, for they committed infidelity with other gods and bowed down to them. They turned aside quickly from the way in which their fathers had walked and obeying the commandments of the Lord. They did not do the same as their fathers. And when the Lord raised up judges for them, the Lord was with the judge and saved them from the hand of their enemies all the days of the judge. For the Lord was moved to pity by their groaning because of those who tormented and oppressed them. But it came about, when the judge died, that they would turn back and act more corruptly than their fathers, and following other gods to serve them and bow down to them. They did not abandon their practices or their obstinate ways. So the anger of the Lord burned against Israel, and he said, because this nation has violated my covenant, which I commanded their fathers, and has not listened to my voice, I in turn will no longer drive out from them any of the nations which Joshua left when he died, in order to test Israel by them, whether they will keep the way of the Lord to walk in it as their fathers did or not. So the Lord allowed those nations to remain, not driving them out quickly, as he did not hand them over to Joshua. Idolatry leads to servitude. Chapter 3. Now these are the nations that the Lord left to test Israel by them, that is, all the Israelites who had not experienced any of the wars of Canaan, only in order that the generations of the sons of Israel might be taught war, those who had not experienced it previously. These nations are the five governors of the Philistines, and all the Canaanites, and the Sidonians, and the Hivites who lived in Mount Lebanon, from Mount Baal Hermon as far as Lebo Hamath. They were left to test Israel by them, to find out if they would obey the commandments. To find out if they would obey the commandments of the Lord, which he had commanded their fathers through Moses. The sons of Israel lived among the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Amorites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites. And they took their daughters for themselves as wives, and gave their own daughters to their sons, and served their gods. So the sons of Israel did what was evil in the sight of the Lord, and they forgot the Lord their God, and served the Baals and the Asheroth. Then the anger of the Lord was kindled against Israel, so that he sold them into the hand of Shachan Rashathaim, king of Mesopotamia. And the sons of Israel served Cushan Rashathaim for 8 years. The first judge frees Israel. But the sons of Israel cried out to the Lord, and the Lord raised up a deliverer for the sons of Israel to set them free, Othniel, the son of Kenaz, Caleb's younger brother. And the Spirit of the Lord came upon him, and he judged Israel. When he went to war The Lord handed over to him Cushan Rishathaim, king of Mesopotamia, so that he prevailed over Cushan Rishathaim. Then the land was at rest for 40 years, and Othniel the son of Kenaz died. Now the sons of Israel again did evil in the sight of the Lord. So the Lord strengthened Eglon, the king of Moab, against Israel, because they had done evil in the sight of the Lord. And he gathered to himself the sons of Ammon and Amalek, and he went and defeated Israel. And they took possession of the city of the palm trees. And the sons of Israel served Eglon, the king of Moab, for 18 years. Ehud kills Eglon. But when the sons of Israel cried out to the Lord raised up a deliverer for them, Ehud, the son of Gera, the Benjaminite, a left-handed man, and the sons of Israel sent tribute to him to Eglon, the king of Moab. Now Ehud made himself a sword which had two edges, a cubit in length, and he strapped it on his right thigh under his cloak. Then he presented the tribute to Eglon, king of Moab. Now Eglon was a very fat man, and it came about when he had finished presenting the tribute that Ehud sent away the people who had carried the tribute. But he himself turned back from idols which were at Gilgal and said, I have a secret message for you, O king. And the king said, Silence. And all who were attending him left him. And Ehud came to him while he was sitting in his cool roof chamber alone, and he had said, I have a message from God for you. And he got up from his seat. Then Ehud reached out with his left hand and took the sword from his right thigh and thrust it into his belly. The hilt of the sword also went in after the blade, and the fat closed over the blade because he did not pull the sword out of his belly, and the refuse came out. Then Ehud went into the vestibule and shut the doors of the roof chamber behind him and locked them. When he had left, the king's servant came and looked, and behold, the doors of the roof chamber were locked. And they said, Undoubtedly, he is relieving himself in the cool room. So they waited until it would have been shameful to wait longer. But behold, he did not open the doors of the roof chamber. So they took the key and opened them, and behold, their master had fallen to the floor dead. Now he had escaped while they were hesitating, and he passed by the idols and escaped to Serah. And when he had arrived, he blew the trumpet in the hill country of Ephraim, and the sons of Israel went down with him from the hill country, and he was leading them. Then he said to them, Pursue them, for the Lord has handed your enemies to the Moabites over to you. So they went down after him and took control of the crossing places of the Jordan opposite Moab, and did not allow anyone to cross. They struck and killed about 10,000 Moabites at that time, all robust and valiant men, and no one escaped. So Moab was subdued that day under the hand of Israel, and the land was at rest for 80 years. Shamgar saves Israel. Now after him came Shamgar, the son of Anath, who struck and killed 600 Philistines with Oxgoad, and he also saved Israel. Deborah and Barak, chapter 4. Then the sons of Israel again did evil in the sight of the Lord, after Ehud died. So the Lord sold them into the hand of Jabin, the king of Canaan, who reigned in Hazor, and the commander of his army was Sisera, who lived in Harosheth Hagoyim. The son of Israel cried out to the Lord, for he had 900 iron chariots, and he oppressed the son of Israel severely, for 20 years. Now Deborah, a prophetess, the wife of Lapidoth, who was judging Israel at that time, she used to sit under the palm tree of Deborah between Ramah and Bethel in the hill country of Ephraim, and the sons of Israel went up to her for judgment. Now she sent word and summoned Barak, the son of Abinoam, from Kadesh, Naphtali, and said to them, The Lord, the God of Israel, has indeed commanded, Go and march to Mount Tabor, and take with you 10,000 men from the sons of Naphtali, and from the sons of the Zebulun. I will draw out to you Sisera, the commander of Jabin's army, with his chariots and his many troops to the river Kishon, and I will hand him over to you. Then Barak said to her, If you will go with me, then I will go. But if you will not go with me, I will not go. She said, I will certainly go with you. However, the fame shall not be yours on the journey that you are about to take, for the Lord will sell Sisera into the hand of a woman. Then Deborah got up and went with Barak to Kadesh. Barak summoned Zebulun and Naphtali to Kadesh, and 10,000 men went up with him. Deborah also went with them. Now Haver the Kenite had separated himself from the Kenites, from the sons of Hobab, the father-in-law of Moses, and had pitched his tent as far away as the oaks and Zaananim, which is near Kadesh. Then they sold Sisera That then they told Sisera that Barak, the son of Abinoam, had gone up to Mount Tabor. Sisera summoned all his chariots, 900 iron chariots, and all the people who were with him from Harosheth Hagoyim to the river Kishon. Then Deborah said to Barak, "Arise, for this day is the day on which the Lord has handed Sisera over to you. Behold, the Lord has gone out before you." So Barak went down from Mount Tabor with 10,000 men following him. And the Lord routed Sisera and all his chariots and all his army with the edge of the sword before Barak. And Sisera got down from his chariot and fled on foot. But Barak pursued the chariots and the army as far as Harosheth Hagoyim, and all the army of Sisera fell by the edge of the sword. Not even one was left. Now Sisera fled on foot to the tent of Jael, the wife of Heber the Kenite, because there was peace between Jabin the king of Hazor and the house of Heber the Kenite. And Jael went out to meet Sisera and said to him, "Turn aside, my master, turn aside to me, do not be afraid." So he turned aside to her into the tent, and she covered him with a rug. And he said to her, "Please give me a little water to drink, for I am thirsty." So she opened a leather bottle of milk and gave him a drink. Then she covered him, and he said to her, "Stand in the doorway of the tent, and it shall be if anyone comes and inquires of you and says, 'Is there anyone here?' that you shall say no." But Jael, Haber's wife, took a tent peg and a hammer in her hand and went secretly to him and drove the peg into his temple, and it went through into the ground, for he was sound asleep and exhausted. So he died. And behold, while Barak was pursuing Sisera, Jael came to meet him and said to him, "Come, and I will show you the man whom you are seeking." So he entered with her, and behold, Sisera was lying dead with the tent peg in his temple. So God subdued Jabin, the king of Canaan, on that day before the sons of Israel. And the hand of the sons of Israel pressed harder and harder upon Jabin, the king of Canaan, until they had eliminated Jabin, the king of Canaan. The Song of Deborah and Barak, chapter 5. Then Deborah and Barak, the son of Abinoam, sang on that day, saying, "For the leaders leading in Israel, for the people volunteering, bless the Lord. Hear, you kings. Listen, you dignitaries. I myself to the Lord, I myself will sing. I will sing praise to the Lord, the God of Israel. Lord, when you went out from Seir, when you marched from the field of Edom, the earth quaked, the heavens also dripped, the clouds also dripped water. The mountains flowed with water at the presence of the Lord. This Sinai at the presence of the Lord, the God of Israel. In the days of Shamagar, the son of Anath, in the days of Jael, the roads were deserted, and travelers went by roundabout ways. The peasantry came to an end. They came to an end in Israel, until I, Deborah, arose, until I, a mother in Israel. New gods were chosen. Then war was in the gates. Not a shield or a spear was seen among 40,000 in Israel. My heart goes out to the commanders of Israel, the volunteers among the people. Bless the Lord, you who ride on white donkeys, you who sit on rich carpets, and you who travel on the road, shout in praise. At the sound of those who distribute water among the watering places, there they will recount the righteous deeds of the Lord, the righteous deeds for his peasantry in Israel. Then the people of the Lord went down to the gates. Awake, awake, Deborah. Awake, awake, sing a song. Arise, Barak, and lead away, your captive son of Abinoam. Then survivors came down to the nobles. The people of the Lord came down to me as warriors. From Ephraim, those whose root is in Amalek came down. Following you, Benjamin, with your peoples. From Machir, commanders came down, and from Zebulun, those who wield the staff of office. And the princes of Issachar were with Deborah, and was Issachar, so was Barak. Into the valleys they rushed at his heels. Among the divisions of Reuben, there were great determinations of heart. Why did you sit among the sheepfolds to hear the piping for the flocks? Among the divisions of Reuben, there were great searchings of heart. Gilead remained across the Jordan, and why did Dan stay on ships? Asher sat at the seashore and remained by its landings. Zebulun was a people who risked their lives, and Naphtali too, on the high places of the field. The king came and fought. Then the kings of Canaan fought. At Taanach, near the waters of Megiddo, they took no plunder in silver. The stars fought from heaven. For their past they fought against Sisera. The torrent of Kishon swept them away. The ancient torrent, the torrent of Kishon. My soul march on with strain. Then the horse's hooves beat from the galloping of his mighty stallions. Curse Meroz, said the angel of the Lord. Utterly curse his inhabitants, because they did not come to the help of the Lord, to the help of the Lord against the warriors. Most blessed of the women is Jael, the wife of Heber the Kenite. Most blessed is she of the woman in the tent. He asked for water, and she gave him milk. In a magnificent bowl, she brought him curds. She reached out her hand for the tent peg, and her right hand for the workman hammer. Then she struck Sisera, she smashed his head, and she scattered and pierced his temple between her feet, and he bowed, he fell, he lay between her feet, he bowed, he fell. Where he bowed, there he fell dead. Out of the window she looked and wailed, the mother of Sisera through the lattice. Why does his chariot delay in coming? Why do the hoofbeats of his chariots delay? Her wise princes would answer her. Indeed, she repeats her words to herself. Are they not finding? Are they not dividing the spoils? A concubine, two concubines for every warrior. To Sisera, a spoil of dyed cloth, a spoil of dyed cloth embroidered, dyed cloth of double embroidery on the neck of the plunderer. May all your enemies perish in this way, Lord. May those who love him be like the rising of the sun in its might, and the land was at rest for 40 years. Israel oppressed by Midian. Judges chapter 6. Then the sons of Israel did what was evil in the sight of the Lord, and the Lord handed them over to Midian for 7 years. The power of Midian prevailed against Israel. Because of Midian, the sons of Israel made for themselves the den which were in the mountains, and the caves and the strongholds. For whenever Israel had sown, the Midianites would come up with the Amalekites and the people of the east and march against them. So they would camp against them and destroy the produce of the earth as far as Gaza, and leave no sustenance in Israel for a sheep, ox, or donkey. For they would come up with their livestock in their tents. They would come in like locusts in number, and both they and their camels were innumerable, and they came into the land to ruin it. So Israel was brought very low because of Midian, and the sons of Israel cried out to the Lord. Now it came about when the sons of Israel cried out to the Lord on account of Midian that the Lord sent a prophet to the sons of Israel, and he said to them, This is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says. It was I who brought you up from Egypt and brought you out of the house of slavery. And I rescued you from the hands of the Egyptians and from the hands of all your oppressors. And I drove them out from you and gave you their land. And I said to you, I am the Lord your God. You shall not fear the gods of the Amorites in whose land you live, but you have not obeyed me. Gideon visited. Then the angel of the Lord came and sat under the oak that was in Ophrah, which belonged to Joash the Abiezrite. And his son Gideon was beating out wheat in the winepress in order to save it from the Midianites. And the angel of the Lord appeared to him and said to him, The Lord is with you, valiant warrior. Then Gideon said to him, O my Lord, if the Lord is with us, why then has all this happened to us? And where are all his miracles which our fathers told us about, saying, Did the Lord not bring us up from Egypt? But now the Lord has abandoned us and handed us over to Midian. And the Lord looked at him and said, Go in this strength of yours and save Israel from the hand of Midian. Have I not sent you? But he said to him, O Lord, how am I to save Israel? Behold, my family is the least in Manasseh, and I am the youngest in my father's house. Yet the Lord said to him, I will certainly be with you, and you will defeat Midian as one man. So Gideon said to him, If now I have found favor in your sight, then perform for me a sign that is you speaking with me. Please do not depart from here until I come back to you, and bring out my offering, and I lay it before you. And he said, I will remain until you return. Then Gideon went in and prepared a young goat and unleavened bread from an ephah of flour. He put the meat in a basket and broth in a pot, and brought them out to him under the oak and presented them. And the angel of God said to him, Take the meat and the unleavened bread and lay them on this rock and pour out the broth. And he did so. Then the angel of the Lord put out the end of the staff that was in his hand and touched the meat and the unleavened bread, and the fire came up from the rock and consumed the meat and the unleavened bread. Then the angel of the Lord vanished from his sight. When Gideon perceived that he was the angel of the Lord, he said, O Lord God, for I have seen the angel of the Lord face to face. But the Lord said to him, Peace to you. Do not be afraid. You shall not die. Then Gideon built an altar there to the Lord and named it, The Lord is peace to this day. It is still an Ophrah of the Abiezrites. Now on the same night, the Lord said to him, Take your father's bull and the second bull, 7 years old, and tear down the altar of Baal, which belongs to your father, and cut down the Asherah that is beside it, and build an altar to the Lord your God on top of his stronghold in an orderly way. And take a second bull and offer a burnt offering with the wool of the Asherah, which you shall cut down. Then Gideon took 10 men from his servant and did how the Lord had spoken to him. And because he was too afraid of his father's household and the men of the city to do it by day, he did it by night. When the people of the city got up early in the morning, behold, the altar of Baal had been torn down, and the Asherah which had been beside it had been cut down, and the second bull had been offered on the altar which had been built. So they said to one another, who did this thing? And when they searched and inquired, they said, Gideon, the son of Joash, did this thing. Then the men of the city said to Joash, bring out your son, that he may die, for he has torn down the altar of Baal, and indeed he has cut down the Asherah which was beside it. So Joash said to all who stood against him, will you contend for Baal, or will you save him? Whoever will contend for him shall be put to death by morning. If he is a god, let him contend for himself, since someone has torn down his altar. Therefore on that day he named Gibeon Jerubbaal. That is to say, let Baal contend against him, because he had torn down his altar. Then all the Midianites, the Amalekites, and the people of the east assembled together and crossed over and camped in the valley of the Jezreel. So the Spirit of the Lord covered Gideon like clothing, and he blew a trumpet. And the Abiezrites were called together to follow him. And he sent messengers throughout Manasseh, and they also were called together to follow him. And he sent messengers to Asher, Zebulun, and Naphtali, and they came up to meet him. Then Gideon said to God, if you are going to save Israel through me as you have spoken, behold, I am putting a fleece of wool on the threshing floor. If there is dew on the fleece only and it is dry on all the ground, then I will know that you will save Israel through me as you have spoken. And it was so. When he got up early the next morning and wrung out the fleece, he wrung the dew from the fleece, a bowl full of water. Then Gideon said to God, do not let your anger burn against me, so that I may speak only one more time. Please let me put you to the test one more time with the fleece. Let it now be dry, only on the fleece, and let there be dew on all the ground. And God did so that night, for it was dry only on the fleece, and dew was on all the ground. Gideon's 300 chosen men. Chapter 7. Then Jerubbaal, that is Gideon, and all the people who were with him got up early and camped beside the spring of Harod, and the camp of Midian was on the north side of them by the hill of Moreh in the valley. And the Lord said to Gideon, the people who are with you are too many for me to hand Midian over to them. Otherwise, Israel will become boastful, saying, my own power has saved me. Now therefore, come, proclaim in the hearing of the people, saying, whoever is afraid and worried is to return and leave Mount Gilead. So 22,000 from the people return, but 10,000 remain. Then the Lord said to Gideon, the people are still too many. Bring them down to the water, and I will test them for you there. So it shall be that of whom I say to you, this one shall go with you, he shall go with you. But everyone of whom I say to you, this one shall not go with you, he shall not go. So he brought the people down to the water. Then the Lord said to Gideon, you shall put everyone who laps the water with his tongue as a dog laps in one group, and everyone who kneels down to drink in another. Now the number of those who lapped, putting their hand to their mouth, was 300 men. But all the rest of the people kneeled down to drink. Said to Gideon, I will save you with the 300 men who lapped, and I will hand Midianites over to you. So all the other people go, each man to his home. So the 300 men took the people's provisions and their trumpets in their hands, and Gideon dismissed all the other men of Israel, each to his tent, but retained the 300 men, and the camp of Midian was below him in the valley. Now on the same night it came about that the Lord said to him, arise, go down against the camp, for I have handed it over to you. But if you are afraid to go down, go with Purah, your servant, down to the camp, so that you will hear what they say, and afterward you will have the courage to go down against the camp. So he went down with Purah, his servant, to the outpost of the army that was in the camp. Now the Midianites and the Amalekites and all the people of the east were lying in the valley, as numerous as locusts, and their camels were without number, as numerous as the sand on the seashore. When Gideon came, behold, a man was relating a dream to his friend. And he said, behold, I had a dream. A loaf of barley bread was tumbling into the camp of Midian, and it came to the tent and struck it so that it fell, and turned it upside down, so that And his friend replied, "This is nothing other than the sword of Gideon, the son of Joash, a man of Israel. God has handed over to him Midian and all the camp." When Gideon heard the account of the dream and its interpretation, he bowed and worshipped. Then he returned to the camp of Israel and said, "Arise, for the Lord has handed over to you the camp of Midian." And he divided the 300 men into 3 units, and he put the trumpets and empty pitchers into the hands of all of them, with torches inside the pitchers. Then he said to them, "Look at me and do likewise. And behold, when I come to the outskirts of the camp, do as I do. When I and all who are with me blow the trumpet, then you also blow the trumpets around the entire camp and say, 'For the Lord and for Gideon.'" So Gideon and the 100 men who were with him came to the outskirts of the camp at the beginning of the middle night watch. When they had just posted the watch, and they blew the trumpets and smashed the pitchers that were in their hands, when the 3 units blew the trumpets and broke the pitchers, they held the torches in their left hands and the trumpets in their right hands for blowing and shouting, "A sword for the Lord and for Gideon." And each stood in his place around the camp. And all the army ran, crying out as they fled. When they when they blew the 300 trumpets, the Lord set the sword of one against another, even throughout the entire army. And the army fled as far as Beth Shittah, towards Zerah, as far as the edge of Abel Macholah at Tabath. And the men of Israel were summoned from Naphtali, Asher, and Manasseh, and they pursued Midian. Then Gideon sent messengers throughout the hill country of Ephraim, saying, "Come down against Midian and take control of the waters ahead of them, as far as Beth Bada and the Jordan." So all the men of Ephraim were summoned, and they took control of the waters as far as Bethbada and the Jordan. And they captured the two leaders of Midian, Oreb and Zaib. And they killed Oreb at the rock of Oreb, and they killed Zaib at the winepress of Zaib. While they pursued Midian, and they brought the heads of Oreb and Zaib to Gideon from across the Jordan. Zebah and Zalmunna rooted. The men, chapter 8. Then the men of Ephraim said to Gideon, "What is this thing that you have done to us, not calling upon us when you went to fight against Midian?" And they quarreled with him vehemently. But he said to them, "What I have done now in comparison with you is the gleaning of the grapes of Ephraim, not better than the vintage of Ahizar? God has handed over to you the leaders of Midian, Oreb, and Zaib. And what was I able to do in comparison with you?" Then their anger toward him subsided when he said that. Then Gideon and the 300 men who were with him came to the Jordan and crossed over, exhausted yet still pursuing. And he said to the men of Succoth, "Please give loaves of bread to the people who are following me, for they are exhausted, and I am pursuing Zebah and Zalmunna, the kings of Midian." But the leaders of Succoth said, "Are the hands of Zebah and Zalmunna already in your hand, that we should give bread to your army?" So Gideon said for this answer, "When the Lord has handed over to me Zebah and Zalmunna, I will thrash your bodies with thorns of the wilderness and with briars." Then he went up from there to Penuel and spoke similarly to them, and the men of Penuel answered him, just as the men of Succoth had answered. So he said also to the men of Penuel, "When I return safely, I will tear down this tower." Now Zebah and Zalmunna were on Kakor, and their armies with them, about 15,000 men, all who were left of the entire army of the people of the east, for the fallen were 120,000 swordsmen. Gideon went up by the way of those who lived in the tents to the east of Nobah and to Jogbeha, and he attacked the camp when the camp was unsuspecting. When Zebah and Zalmunna fled, he pursued them and captured the two kings of Midian, Zebah and Zalmunna, and routed the entire army. Then Gideon the son of Joash returned from the battle by the ascent of Heres, and he captured a youth from Succoth and questioned him. Then the youth wrote down for him the leaders of Succoth and its elders, 77 men. And he came to the men of Succoth and said, "Behold, Zebah and Zalmunna, about whom you taunted me, saying, 'Are the hands of Zebah and Zalmunna already in your hand, that we should give bread to your men who are weary?" Then he took the elders of the city and the thorns of the wilderness and briars, and he disciplined the men of Succoth with them. And he tore down the tower of Penuel and killed them and killed the men of the city. Then he said to Zebah and Zalmunna, who were with the men whom you killed at Tabor, but they said, "You and they were alike, each one resembling the son of a king." And he said, "They were my brothers, the sons of my mother. As the Lord lives, if only you had let them live, I would not kill you." So he said to Jethro his firstborn, "Rise, kill them." But the youth did not draw his sword, for he was afraid, because he was still a youth. Then Zebah and Zalmunna said, "Rise up yourself and attack us, for as the man up, so is his strength." So Gideon arose and killed Zebah and Zalmunna, and he took the crescent amulets which were on their camels' necks. Then the men of Israel said to Gideon, "Rule over both Rule over us both, you and your son's sons as well, for you have saved us from the hand of Midian. But Gideon said to them, I will not rule over you, nor shall my son rule over you. The Lord shall rule over you. Yet Gideon said to them, I would request of you that each of you give me an earring for his plunder. For they had gold earrings because they were Ishmaelites. And they said, we will certainly give them to you. So they spread out a garment, and every one of them tossed an earring there from his plunder. The weight of the gold earrings that he requested was 1,700 shekels of gold, apart from the crescent amulets, the ear pendants, and the purple robes which were on the kings of Midian, and apart from the neck chains that were on their camels' necks. Gideon made it into an ephod and placed it in the city of Ophrah. But all the Israelites committed infidelity with it there, and it became a snare to Gideon and his household. 40 years of peace. So Midian was subdued before the sons of Israel, and they did not lift up their heads anymore. And the land was undisturbed for 40 years in the days of Gideon. Then Jerubbaal, the son of Joash, went and lived in his own house. Now Gideon had 70 sons who were in the direct descendants, for he had many wives, and his concubines, who was in Shechem, also bore him a son, and he named him Abimelech. And Gideon, the son of Joash, died at a good old age, and was buried in the tomb of his father Joash, and Ophrah of the Abizarites. Then it came about as soon as Gideon was dead that the sons of Israel again committed infidelity with the Baals and made Baal Bereth their god. So the sons of Israel did not remember the Lord their God, who had saved them from the hands of all their enemies on every side. Nor did they show kindness to the house of Jerubbaal, that is Gideon, in accordance with all God, but with all the good that he had done for Israel. Judges chapter 9. Now Abimelech the son of Jerubbaal went to Shechem and his mother's relatives and spoke to them and to the entire family of the household of his mother's father, saying, Speak now in the hearing of all the elders of Shechem, which is better for you, for 70 men, all the sons of Jerubbaal, to rule over you, or for one man to rule over you? Also, remember that I am your bone and your flesh. So his mother's relatives spoke all these words on his behalf in the hearing of all the leaders of Shechem, and they were inclined to follow Abimelech, for they said, He is our relative. And they gave him 70 pieces of silver from the house of Baal Bereth, with which Abimelech hired worthless and reckless men, and they followed him. Then he went to his father's house in Ophrah and killed his brothers, the sons of Jerubbaal, 70 men on one stone. But Jotham, the youngest son of Jerubbaal, was left because he hid himself. All the leaders of Shechem and all Beth Milo assembled together, and they went and made Abimelech king by the oak of the memorial stone which is in Shechem. Now, when they had told Jotham, he went and stood on the top of Mount Gerizim and raised his voice and called out. And he said to them, Listen to me, you leaders of Shechem, that God may listen to you. Once the trees went to anoint a king over them, and they said to the olive tree, Reign over us. But the olive tree said to them, Shall I give up my fatness with which God and mankind are honored, and go to wave over the trees? Then the trees said to the fig tree, You come reign over us. But the fig tree said to them, Shall I give up my sweetness and my good fruit, and go to wave over the trees? Then the tree said to the vine, You come reign over us. But the vine said to them, Shall I give up my new wine, which cheers God and mankind, and go to wave over the trees? Then all the trees said to the bramble, You come reign over us. And the bramble said to the trees, If you really are anointing me as king over you, come and take refuge in my shade. But if not, may fire come out of the bramble and consume the cedars of Lebanon. Now then, if you have acted with honesty and integrity in making Abimelech king, and if you have dealt well with Jerubbaal and his household, and have dealt with him as he deserved, for my father fought for you and risked his life and saved you from the hand of Midian. But in fact, you have risen against my father's house today, and have killed his sons, 70 men, on one stone, and have made Abimelech, the son of his female slave, king over the leaders of Shechem, because he is your relative. So if you have acted with honesty and integrity toward Jerubbaal and his house this day, be joyful about Abimelech, and may he also be joyful about you. But if not, may fire come out of Abimelech and consume the leaders of Shechem and Beth Milo, and may fire come out of the leaders of Shechem and from Beth Milo and consume Abimelech. Then Jotham escaped and fled and went to Beer, and he stayed there because of his brother Abimelech. Now Abimelech ruled over Israel for 3 years. Then God sent an evil spirit between Abimelech and the leaders of Shechem, and the leaders of Shechem dealt treacherously with Abimelech, so that violence done to the 70 sons of Jerubbaal would come, and the responsibility for their blood would be placed on their brother Abimelech, who killed them, and on the leaders of Shechem, who encouraged him to kill his brothers. The leaders of Shechem set up men in ambush against him on the top of the mountains, and they robbed everyone who passed by them on the road. And it was reported to Abimelech. Now Jael, the son of Ebed, came to his relatives and crossed over into Shechem, and the leaders of Shechem trusted him. So they went out to the field and gathered the grapes of their vineyards and trampled them, and held a festival. And they went into the house of their God and ate and drank and cursed Abimelech. Then Gaal, the son of Ebed, said, Who is Abimelech and who is Shechem, that we should serve him? Is he not the son of Jerubbaal? And is Zebul not his governor? Serve the men of Hamor, the father of Shechem. But why should we serve him? If only his people were under my authority, then I would do away with Abimelech. And he said to Abimelech, Enlarge your army and come out. When Zebul, the leader of the city, heard the words of Gaal, the son of Abed, his anger burned. So, using deception, he successfully sent messengers to Abimelech, saying, Behold, Gaal, the son of Abed, and his relatives have come to Shechem, and behold, they are stirring up the city against you. So now arise by night, you and the people who are with you, and lie in wait in the field. Then in the morning, as soon as the sun is up, you shall rise early and attack the city. And behold, when he and the people who are with him come out against you, you shall do to them whatever you can. So Abimelech and all the people who were with him got up at night and lay in wait against Shechem in 4 units. The people who were with him arose from the ambush. When Gaal saw the people, he said to Zebul, Look, people are coming down from the tops of the mountains. But Zebul said to him, You are seeing the shadow of the mountains as if they were people. And Gaal spoke yet again and said, Look, people are coming down from the highest part of the land, and 1 unit is coming by the way of the diviner's oak. Then Zebul said, Where then is your boasting with which you said, Who is Abimelech that we should serve him? Is this not the people whom you rejected? Go out now and fight them. So Gaal went out on the side of the leaders of Shechem and fought Abimelech. But Abimelech chased him, and he fled from him, and many fell wounded up to the entrance of the gate. Then Abimelech stayed in Arumah, but Zebul drove out Gaal and his relatives so that they could not stay in Shechem. Now it came about the next day that the people went out of the field, and it was reported to Abimelech. So he took his people and divided them into 3 units and lay in wait in the field. When he looked and saw the people coming out from the city, he attacked them and killed them. Then Abimelech and the company who was with him rushed forward and stood at the entrance of the city gate. The other 2 companies then attacked all who were in the field and killed them. Abimelech fought against the whole city that day, and he captured the city and killed the people who were in it. Then he tore down the city and sold it with salt. When all the leaders of the Tower of Shechem heard about it, they entered the inner chamber of the temple of El-Bereth, and it was reported to Abimelech that all the leaders of the Tower of Shechem were gathered together. So Abimelech went up to Mount Zalmon, and he and all the people who were with him, and Abimelech took an axe in his hand and cut down a branch from the trees, and lifted it and put it on his shoulder. Then he said to the people who were with him, What you saw me do, hurry and do likewise. So all the people also cut down each one of his branch and followed Abimelech and put them on top of the inner chamber and set the inner chamber on fire over those inside. So that all the people of the Tower of Shechem also died, about 1,000 men and women. Then Abimelech went to Thebez, and he camped against Thebez and captured it. But there was a strong tower in the center of the city, and all the men and women with all the leaders of the city fled there and shut themselves in, and they went up on the roof of the tower. So Abimelech came to the tower and fought against it, and approached the entrance of the tower to burn it down with fire. But a woman threw an upper millstone on Abimelech's head, crushing his skull. Then he quickly called to the young man, his armor bearer, and said to him, Draw your sword and kill me, so that it will not be said of me, a woman killed him. So the young man pierced him through, and he died. Now, when the men of Israel saw that Abimelech was dead, each left for his home. So God repaid the wickedness of Abimelech, which he had done to his father in killing his 70 brothers. God also returned all the wickedness of the men of Shechem on their heads, and the curse of Jotham, the son of Jerubbaal, came upon them. Judges chapter 10. Now, after Abimelech died, Tola, the son of Puah, the son of Dodo, a man of Issachar, rose up to save Israel. And he lived in Shamir in the hill country of Ephraim. He judged Israel for 23 years. Then he died and was buried in Shamir. After him, Jair, the Gileadite, rose up and judged Israel for 22 years. And he had 30 sons who rode on 30 donkeys, and they had 30 cities in the land of Gilead that are called Havoth Jair to this day, and Jair died and was buried in Kaman. Then the sons of Israel again did evil in the sight of the Lord, and they served the Baals and the Ashtaroth, and the gods of Aram, and the gods of Sidon, the gods of Moab, the gods of the sons of Ammon, and the gods of the Philistines. So they abandoned the Lord and did not serve him. And the anger of the Lord burned against Israel, and he sold them into the hands of the Philistines and into the hands of the sons of Ammon. And they afflicted and oppressed the sons of Israel that year. For 18 years they oppressed all the sons of Israel who were beyond the Jordan in Gilead in the land of the Amorites. And the sons of Ammon crossed the Jordan to fight also against Judah, Benjamin, and the house of Ephraim, so that Israel was in great difficulty. Then the sons of Israel cried out to the Lord, saying, We have sinned against you, for indeed we have abandoned our God and served the Baals. And the Lord said to the sons of Israel, Did I not save you from the Egyptians, the Amorites, the sons of Ammon, and the Philistines? And when the Sidonians and the Amalekites and the Maonites oppressed you, you cried out to me, and I saved you from their hands. Yet you abandoned me and served other gods. Therefore I will no longer save you. Go and cry out to the gods which you have chosen. Let them save you in the time of your distress. Then the sons of Israel said to the Lord, We have sinned. Do to us whatever seems good to you. Only please save us this day. So they removed the foreign gods from among them and served the Lord, and he could no longer endure the misery of Israel. Then the sons of Ammon were summoned, and they camped in Gilead. And the sons of Israel gathered together and camped in Mizpah. And the people, the leaders of Gilead, said to one another, Who is the man who began to fight against the sons of Ammon? We shall become, he shall become heads over all the inhabitants of Gilead. Now Jephthah the Gileadite was a valiant warrior, but he was the son of a prostitute, and Gilead had fathered Jephthah. Gilead's wife bore him sons, and when his wife's sons grew up, they drove Jephthah out and said to him, You shall not have an inheritance in our father's house, for you are the son of another woman. So Jephthah fled from his brothers and lived in the land of Tob. A worthless men gathered around Jephthah, and they went wherever he did. Now it came about after a while that the sons of Ammon fought against Israel. When the sons of Ammon fought against Israel, the elders of Gilead went to Jephthah from the land of Tob, and they said to Jephthah, Come out and be our leader, that we may fight against the sons of Ammon. But Jephthah said to the elders of Gilead, Did you not hate me and drive me from my father's house? So why have you come to me now when you are in trouble? The elders of Gilead said to Jephthah, For this reason we have not returned to you, that you may go with us to fight the sons of Ammon and become our head over all the inhabitants of Gilead. So Jephthah said to the elders of Gilead, If you bring me back to fight against the sons of Ammon, and the Lord gives them up to me, will I become your head? And the elders of Gilead said to Jephthah, The Lord is witness between us. Be assured we will do as we have said. Then Jephthah went with the elders of Gilead, and the people made him head and leader over them. And Jephthah spoke all his words before the Lord at Mizpah. So Jephthah sent messengers to the king of the sons of Ammon, saying, What conflict do you have, that you have come to me and fight against my land? And the king of the sons of Ammon said to the messengers of Jephthah, It is because Israel took my land when they came up from Egypt, from the Arnon, as far as the Jabbok and the Jordan. So return them peaceably now. But Jephthah sent messengers once again to the kings of the sons of Ammon, and they said to him, This is what Jephthah says, Israel did not take the land of Moab, nor the land of the sons of Ammon. For when they came up from Egypt, and Israel went through the wilderness to the Red Sea, and came to Kadesh, then Israel sent messengers to the king of Edom, saying, Please let us pass through your land. But the king of Edom would not listen. And they also sent messengers to the king of Moab, but he would not consent. So Israel remained at Kadesh. Then they went through the wilderness and around the land of Edom and the land of Moab, and came to the east side of the land of Moab. And they camped beyond the Arnon, but they did not enter the territory of Moab, for the Arnon was the border of Moab. And Israel sent messengers to Sihon, king of the Amorites, the king of Heshbon. And Israel said to him, Please let us pass through your land to our place. But Sihon did not trust Israel to pass through his territory. So Sihon gathered all his people and camped in Jahaz and fought with Israel. And the Lord, the God of Israel, handed Sihon over and all his people over to Israel, and they defeated them. So Israel took possession of all the land of the Amorites, the inhabitants of the country. So they possessed all the territories of the Amorites from the Arnon as far as the Jabbok, and from the wilderness as far as the Jordan. And now the Lord, the God of Israel, has driven out the Amorites from his people. So you should possess it. Do you not possess what Shamash, your God, gives you to possess. So whatever the Lord our God dispossessed before us, we will possess it. Now then, are you any better than Balak, the son of Zippor, king of Moab? Did he ever contend with Israel, or did he ever fight against them? When Israel was living in Heshbon and its villages, and Aroer and its villages, and in all the cities that are on the banks of the Arnon, 300 years, why did you not recover them within that time? So I have not sinned against you, but you are doing me wrong by making war against me. May the Lord, the judge between you, between the sons of Israel and the sons of Ammon. But the king of the sons of Ammon disregarded the message which Jephthah sent him. Now the Spirit of the Lord came up upon Jephthah, and he passed through Gilead and Manasseh. Then he passed through Mizpah of Gilead, and went from Mizpah of Gilead. He went on to the sons of Ammon, and Jephthah made a vow to the Lord, and he said, if you will indeed hand over to me the sons of Ammon, then whatever comes out of the doors of my house to meet me when I return safely from the sons of Ammon, it shall be the Lord's, and I will offer it up as a burnt offering. So Jephthah crossed over to the sons of Ammon to fight against them, and the Lord handed them over to him. He inflicted a very great defeat on them from Aroer to the entrance of Meneth, the 20 cities, as far as Aber Karamim. So the sons of Ammon were subdued before the sons of Israel. But Jephthah came to his house at Mizpah, and behold, his daughter was coming out to meet him with tambourines and with dancing, and she was with one and only child. And she was his one and only child. Besides her, he had no son or daughter. So when he saw her, he tore his clothes and said, "Oh, my daughter, you have brought me disaster, and you are among those who trouble me. For I have given my word to the Lord, and I cannot take it back." So she said to him, "My father, you have given your word to the Lord. Do to me just as you have said, since the Lord has brought you vengeance on your enemies, the sons of Ammon." And she said to her father, "Let this thing be done for me. Allow me 2 months so that I may go to the mountains and weep because of my virginity. I and my friends." Then he said, "Go." So he let her go for 2 months, and she left with her friends and wept on the mountains because of her virginity. And at the end of the 2 months, she returned to her father, who did to her what he vowed, and she had no relations with a man. And it became a custom in Israel that the daughters of Israel went annually to commemorate the daughter of Jephthah the Gileadite for 4 days in the year. Jephthah and his successors. Chapter 12. Now the men of Ephraim were summoned, and they crossed Saphon, and they said to Jephthah, "Why did you cross over to fight against the sons of Ammon without calling us to go with you? We will burn your house down on you." So Jephthah said to them, "I and my people were in a major dispute with the sons of Ammon, and I did call you, but you did not save me from their hand. When I saw that you were no deliverer, I took my life in my hands and crossed over against the sons of Ammon, and the Lord handed them over to me. Why then have you come up to me this day to fight against me?" Then Jephthah gathered all the men of Gilead and fought Ephraim. The men of Gilead defeated Ephraim because they said, "You are survivors of Ephraim, you Gileadites, in the midst of Ephraim and in the midst of Manasseh." And the Gileadites took control of the crossing places of the Jordan opposite Ephraim. And it happened whenever any of the survivors of Ephraim said, "Let me cross over," that the men of Gilead would say to him, "Are you an Ephraimite?" If he said no, then they would say to him, "Just say Shibboleth." But he said Siboleth, for he was not prepared to pronounce it correctly. Then they seized him and slaughtered him at the crossing places of the Jordan. So at that time, 42,000 men from Ephraim fell. Jephthah judged Israel for 6 years. Then Jephthah the Gileadite died and was buried in one of the cities of Gilead. Now Ibzan of Bethlehem judged Israel after him. He had 30 sons and 30 daughters, whom he gave in marriage outside the family. And he brought in 30 daughters from outside for his sons. And he judged Israel for 7 years. Then Ibzan died and was buried in Bethlehem. Now Elon, the Zebulunite, judged Israel after him. He judged Israel for 10 years. Then Elon the Zebulunite died and was buried in Ajalon in the land of Zebulun. Now Abdon, the son of Hillel, the Pedethonite, judged Israel after him. He had 40 sons and 30 grandsons, who rode on 70 donkeys, and he judged Israel for 8 years. Then Abdon, the son of Hillel, the Pirathonite, died and was buried in Pirathon in the land of Ephraim, in the hill country of the Amalekites. Chapter 13. Now the sons of Israel again did evil in the sight of the Lord, and the Lord handed them over to the Philistines for 40 years. And there was a man of Zorah of the family of the Danites, whose name was Manoah, and his wife was infertile and had not given birth to any children. Then the angel of the Lord appeared to the woman and said to her, Behold, now you are infertile and have not given birth, but you will conceive and give birth to a son. And now be careful not to drink wine or strong drink, nor eat any unclean thing, for behold, you will conceive and give birth to a son, and no razor shall come upon his head. For the boy shall be a Nazarite to God from the womb, and he will begin to save Israel from the hand of the Philistines. Then the woman came and told her husband, saying, a man of God came to me, and his appearance was like the appearance of the angel of God, very awesome. So I did not ask him where he came from, nor did he tell me his name, but he said to me, Behold, you shall conceive and give birth to a son, and now you shall not drink wine or strong drink, nor eat any unclean thing, for the boy shall be a Nazarite to God from the womb to the day of his death. Then Manoah pleaded with the Lord and said, Lord, please, let the man of God whom you have sent come to us again, so that he may teach us what we are to do for the boy who is to be born. And God listened to the voice of Manoah, and the angel of God came again to the woman as she was sitting in the field, but Manoah, her husband, was not found with her. So the woman hurried and ran and told her husband, Behold, the man who came the other day has appeared to me. So Manoah got up and followed his wife, and when he came to the man, he said to him, Are you the man who spoke to the woman? And he said, I am. Then Manoah said, Now when your words are fulfilled, what shall the boy's way of life and his vocation? And the angel of the Lord said to Manoah, The woman shall pay attention to all that I said. She shall not eat anything that comes from the vine, nor drink wine, or strong drink, nor eat any unclean thing. She shall keep all that I commanded. Then Manoah said to the angel of the Lord, Please let us detain you, so that we may prepare a young goat for you. But the angel of the Lord said to Manoah, Though you detain me, I will not eat your food. But if you prepare a burnt offering, offer it to the Lord. For Manoah did not know that he was the angel of the Lord. And Manoah said to the angel of the Lord, What is your name? So that when your words are fulfilled, we may honor you. But the angel of the Lord said to him, Why do you ask my name? For it is wonderful. So Manoah took the young goat along with the grain offering and offered it on the rock to the Lord. And he performed wonders while Manoah and his wife looked on. For it came about when the flame went up from the altar toward heaven that the angel of the Lord ascended in the flame of the altar. When Manoah and his wife saw this, they fell on their faces to the ground. Now the angel of the Lord did not appear to Manoah or his wife again. Then Manoah knew that he was the angel of the Lord. So Manoah said to his wife, We will certainly die, for we have seen God. But his wife said to him, If the Lord had desired to kill us, he would not have accepted a burnt offering and a grain offering from our hands, nor would he have shown us all these things, nor would he have let us hear things like this at this time. So the woman gave birth to a son and named him Samson. And the child grew up, and the Lord blessed him. And the Spirit of the Lord began to stir him when he was in Mahaneh-dan, between Zorah and Eshtaol. You're in chapter 14.
Thanks, dude. Chapter 14. Then Samson went down to Timnah, and he saw a woman in Timnah, one of the daughters of the Philistines. So he came back and told his father and mother, I saw a woman in Timnah, one of the daughters of the Philistines. So now get her for me as a wife. But his father and his mother said to him, Is there no woman among the daughters of your relatives or among all our people, that you go to take a wife from the uncircumcised Philistines? Yet Samson said to his father, Get her for me, because she's right for me. However, his father and mother did not know that this was of the Lord, for he was seeking an occasion against the Philistines, and at that time, the Philistines were ruling over Israel. Then Samson went down to Timnah with his father and mother, and came as far as the vineyards of Timnah. And behold, a young lion came roaring toward him, and the Spirit of the Lord rushed upon him, so that he tore it apart as one tears apart a young goat, though he had nothing in his hand. But he did not tell his father or mother what he had done. So he went down and talked to the woman, and she looked pleasing to Samson. When he returned later to take her, he turned aside to look at the carcass of the lion, and behold, a swarm of bees and honey were in the body of the lion. So he took out the honey on his hands and went on, eating as he went. When he came to his father and mother, he gave some to them, and they ate it. But he did not tell them that he had taken the honey out of the body of the lion. Then his father went down to the woman, and Samson held a feast there, for the young men customarily did this. When they saw him, they brought 30 companions to be with him. Then Samson said to them, "Let me now propose a riddle for you. If you actually tell me the answer within the 7 days of the feast and solve it, then I will give you 30 linen wraps and 30 outfits of clothes. But if you are unable to tell me, then you shall give me 30 linen wraps and 30 outfits of clothes." And they said to him, "Propose your riddle, so that we may hear it." So he said to them, "Out of the eater came something to eat, and out of the strong came something sweet." But they could not tell the answer to the riddle in 3 days. Then it came about on the fourth day that they said to Samson's wife, "Entice your husband so that he will tell us the riddle, or we will burn you and your father's house with fire. Have you invited us to impoverish us? Is this not so?" So Samson's wife wept in front of him and said, "You only hate me, and you do not love me. You have proposed a riddle to the sons of my people, and have not told it to me." And he said to her, "Behold, I have not told it to my father or my mother, so should I tell you?" However, she wept before him for 7 days while their feast lasted. And on the seventh day he told her, because she pressed him so hard. She then told the riddle to the sons of her people. So men of the city said to him on the seventh day, before the sun went down, "What is sweeter than honey, and what is stronger than a lion?" And he said to them, "If you had not plowed with my heifer, you would not have found out my riddle." Then the Spirit of the Lord rushed upon him, and he went down to Ashkelon and killed 30 men of them, and took of what they were wearing, and gave the outfits of clothes to those who told the riddle. And his anger burned, and he went up to his father's house, but Samson's wife was given to his companion who had been his friend. But after a while, chapter 15, but after a while, in the time of wheat harvest, Samson visited his wife with a young goat and said, I will go to my wife in her room." But her father did not let him enter. Her father said, "I really thought that you hated her intensely, so I gave her to your companion. Is her younger sister not more beautiful than she? Please let me be yours instead." Samson then said to them, "This time I will have been blameless regarding the Philistines when I do them harm." And Samson went and caught 300 jackals, and took torches, and turned the jackal's tail to tail, and put one torch in the middle between two tails. When he had set fire to the torches, he released the jackals into the standing grain of the Philistines, and set fire to both the bundled heaps and standing grain, along with the vineyards and olive groves. Then the Philistines said, "Who did this?" And some said, "Samson, the son in law of the Timnite, because he took his wife and gave her to his companion." So the Philistines came up and burned her and her father to death with fire. Then Samson said to them, "If this is how you act, I will certainly take revenge on you, and only after that will I stop." So he struck them ruthlessly with a great slaughter, and afterward he went down and lived in the cleft of the rock of Edom. Then the Philistines went up and camped in Judah and spread out in Lehi. So the men of Judah said, "Why have you come up against us?" And they said, "We have come up to bind Samson in order to do him as he did to us." Then 3,000 men of Judah went down to the cleft of the rock of Edom and said to Samson, "Do you not know that the Philistines are rulers over us? What then is this that you have done to us?" And he said to them, "Just as they did to me, so I have done to them." Then they said to him, "We have come down to bind you so that we may hand you over to the Philistines." And Samson said to them, "Swear to me that you will not kill me." So they said to him, "No, but we will bind you tightly and give you into their hands. But we certainly will not kill you." Then they bound him with 2 new ropes and brought him up from the rock. When he came to Lehi, the Philistines shouted as they met him. And the Spirit of the Lord rushed upon him, so that the ropes that were on his arms were like flax that has burned with fire, and his restraints dropped from his hands. Then he found a fresh jawbone of a donkey. So he reached out with his hand and took it, and killed 1,000 men with it. And Samson said, "With the jawbone of a donkey, heaps upon heaps, with the jawbone of a donkey, I have killed 1,000 men." When he had finished speaking, he threw from his hand, and he named that place Ramoth Lehi. Then he became very thirsty, and he called to the Lord and said, "You have handed this great victory over to your servant. And now am I to die of thirst and fall into the hands of the uncircumcised?" But God split the hollow place that is in Lehi, so that the water came out. When he drank, his strength returned, and he revived. Therefore, he named it En Hakori, which is in Lehi to this day. So he judged Israel for 20 years in the days of the Philistines. Judges chapter 16. Now Samson went to Gaza and saw a prostitute there, and he had relations with her. When it was reported to the Gazites, saying, "Samson has come here," they surrounded the place and lay in wait for him all night at the gate of the city. And they kept silent all night, saying, "Let's wait until the morning light, then we will kill him." Now Samson lay asleep until midnight. And at midnight he got up and took hold of the doors of the city gate and the 2 doorposts. And he pulled them up alongside with the bars. Then he put them on his shoulders and carried them up to the top of the mountain, which is opposite Hebron. You got something?
No, it's fine.
All right. After this, it came about that he was in love with a woman in the valley of Sorek, whose name was Delilah. So the governors of the Philistines came up to her and said to her, "Entice him and see where his great strength lies, and how we can overpower him so that we may bind him to humble him. Then we will each give you 1,100 pieces of silver." So Delilah said to Samson, "Please tell me where your great strength lies, and how you can be bound to humble you." And Samson said to her, "If they bind me with 7 fresh animal tendons that have not been dried, then I will become weak and be like any other man." Then the governors of the Philistines brought up to her 7 fresh animal tendons that had not been dried, and she bound him with them. Now she had men prepared for an ambush and in an inner room. And she said to him, "The Philistines are upon you, Samson." But he tore the tendons to pieces, just like a thread of flax is torn apart when it comes too close to the fire. So his strength was not discovered. Then Delilah said to Samson, "Behold, You have toyed with me and told me lies. Now please tell me how you may be bound. Then he said to her, If they bind me tightly with new ropes, which have not been used, then I will become weak and be like any other man. So Delilah took new ropes and bound him and bound him with them and said to him, The Philistines are upon you, Samson, for the men in the ambush were waiting in the inner room. But he tore the ropes from his arms like thread. Then Delilah said to Samson, Up to now you have toyed with me and told me lies. Tell me how you may be bound. And he said to her, If you weave the 7 locks of my hair with the web and fasten it with a pin, then I will be weak like any other man. So while he slept, Delilah wove the 7 locks of his hair with the web, and she fastened it with a pin and said to him, The Philistines are upon you, Samson. But he awoke from his sleep and pulled out the pin of the loom and of the web. Then she said to him, How can you say I love you when your heart is not with me? You have toyed with me these 3 times and have not told me where your great strength is. And it came about when she pressed him daily with her words and urged him that his soul was annoyed to death. So he told her all that was in his heart and said to her, A razor has never come on my head, for I have been a Nazarite to God from my mother's womb. If I am shaved, then my strength will leave me, and I will become weak and be like any other man. When Delilah saw that he had told her all that was in his heart, she sent word and called the governors of the Philistines, saying, Come up, come up once more, for he has told me all that is in his heart. Then the governors of the Philistines came up to her and brought up the money in their hands. And she made him sleep on her knees and called for a man and had him shave off the 7 locks of his head. Then she began to humble him, and his strength left him. She said, The Philistines are upon you, Samson. And he awoke from his sleep and said, I will go out as at other times and shake myself free. But he did not know that the Lord had departed from him. Then the Philistines seized him and gouged out his eyes, and they brought him down to Gaza and restrained him with bronze chains, and he became a grinder in the prison. However, the hair of his head began to grow again after it was shaved off. Now the governors of the Philistines assembled to offer a great sacrifice to Dagon, their god, and to celebrate, for they said, Our God has handed Samson, our enemy, over to us. When the people saw him, they praised their God, for they said, Our God has handed our enemy over to us, even the destroyer of our country, who has killed many of us. It so happened when they were in high spirits that they said, Call for Samson that he may amuse us. So they called for Samson from the prison, and he entertained them. And they made him stand between the pillars. Then Samson said to the boy who was holding his hand, Let me feel the pillars on which the house rests, so that I may lean against them. Now the house was full of men and women, and all the governors of the Philistines were there. And about 3,000 men and women were on the roof looking on while Samson was entertaining them. Then Samson called to the Lord and said, Lord God, please remember me and please strengthen me just this time. O God, that I may at once take vengeance on the Philistines for my 2 eyes. Then Samson grasped the 2 middle pillars on which the house rested with his left. And Samson said, Let me die with the Philistines. And he pushed outwards powerfully, so that the house fell on the governors and all the people who were in it. And the dead whom he killed at his death were more than those whom he killed during his lifetime. Then his brothers and all his father's household came down and took him, and brought him up and buried him between Zorah and Eshtal in the tomb of his father Monah. So he had judged Israel for for 20 years. Judges chapter 17. Now there was a man of the hill country of Ephraim, whose name was Micah. And he said to his mother, the 1,100 pieces said, blessed be my son by the Lord. He then returned the 1,100 pieces of silver to his mother. And his mother said, I wholly consecrate the silver from my hand to the Lord for my son to make a carved image and cast a metal image. So now I will return them to you. So when he returned the silver to his mother took 200 pieces of silver and gave them to the silversmith, who made them into a carved image and cast metal image, and they were in the house of Micah. And the man Micah had a shrine, and he made an ephod and household idols, and consecrated one of his sons, so that he might become his priest. In those days there was no king in Israel. Everyone did what was right in his own eyes. Now there was a young man from Bethlehem in Judah, of the family of Judah, who was a Levite, and he was staying there. Then the man left the city, Bethlehem in Judah, to stay wherever he would find a place. And as he made his journey, he came to the hill country of Ephraim, to the house of Micah. Micah said to him, where do you come from? And he said to him, I am a Levite from Bethlehem in Judah, and I am going to stay wherever I may find a place. Micah then said to him, stay with me and be a father and a priest to me, and I will give you 10 pieces of silver a year, a supply of clothing, and your sustenance. So the Levite went in. The Levite agreed to live with the man, and the young man became to him like one of his sons. So Micah consecrated the Levite, and the young man became his priest, and lived in the house of Micah. Then Micah said, now I know that the Lord will prosper me, because I have a Levite as a priest. Chapter 18. Hey, I'm reading right now. I can't talk. Oh, yeah, I'll send someone out. Hey, he's at. Can someone get the front door? Judges chapter 18. In those days, there was no king of Israel. And in those days, the tribe of the Danites was seeking an inheritance for themselves to live in. For until the day, an inheritance had not been allotted to them as a possession among the tribes of Israel. So the sons of Dan sent from family, uh, their family, 5 men out of their whole country. I'm just going to finish this chapter. Out of their whole number, valiant men from Zorah and Eshtaol, to spy out the land and to explore it. And they said to them, go explore the land. And they came to the hill country of Ephraim, to the house of Micah, and stayed overnight there. When they were near the house of Micah, they recognized the voice of the young man, the Levite, and they turned aside there and said to him, who brought you here, and what are you doing in this place? And what do you have here? He said to them, Micah has done this and that for me, and he has hired me, and I have become his priest. Then they said to him, inquire of God, please, that we may know whether our way on which we are going will be successful. And the priest said to them, go in peace. Your way in which you are going has the Lord's approval. So the 5 men departed and came to Laish, and saw the people who were in it living in security, in the way of the Sidonians, quiet and unsuspecting, for there was no oppressive ruler humiliating them for anything in the land. And they were far from the Sidonians, and had no dealings with anyone. When they came back to their brothers at Zorah and Eshtaol, their brothers said to them, what do you say? And they said, "Arise, and let's go up against them. For we have seen the land, and behold, it is very good. And will you sit still? Do not hesitate to go, to enter, to take possession of the land. When you enter, you will come to an unsuspecting people with a spacious land, for God has handed it over to you, a place where there is no lack of anything that is on the earth." Then, from the family of the Danites, from Zorah and from Eshtaol, 600 men armed with weapons of war set out. They went up and camped at Kiriath Jearim in Judah. Therefore, they called the place Manah Dan. To this day, behold, it is west of Kiriath Jearim, and they passed from there to the hill country of Ephraim and came to the house of Micah. Then the five who went to spy out the country of Laish said to their kinsmen, "Do you know that there are in these houses an ephod and household idols, and a carved image and a cast metal image? Now then, consider what you should do." So they turned aside there and came to the house of the young man, the Levite, to the house of Micah, and asked him how he was doing. Meanwhile, the 600 men, armed with their weapons of war, who were the sons of Dan, were positioned at the entrance of the gate. Now the five men who went to spy out the land went up and entered there. They took the carved image, the ephod, the household idols, and the cast metal image, while the priest was standing at the entrance of the gate with the 600 men with the weapons of war. When these men entered Micah's house and took the carved image, the ephod, household idols, and the cast metal image, the priest said to them, "What are you doing?" And they said to him, "Be silent, put your hand over your mouth, and go with us, and be to us a father and a priest. Is it better for you to be a priest to the house of one man, or to the priest to the tribe and family of in Israel?" The priest's heart was glad, and he took the ephod, the household idols, and the carved image, and went among the people. Then they turned and left, and put the children, the livestock, the valuables in front of them. When they had distanced themselves from Micah's house, the men who were in the houses near Micah's house assembled by command and overtook the sons of Dan. Then they called out to the sons of Dan, who turned around and said to Micah, "What is the matter with you, that you have assembled together?" And he said, "You have taken my gods, which I made, and the priest, and have gone away. What more do I have? So how can you say to me, 'What is the matter with you?'" Then the sons of Dan said to him, "Do not let your voice be heard among us, or else fierce men will attack you, and you will lose your life and the lives of those of your household." So the sons of Dan went on their way, and when Micah saw that they were too strong for him, he turned and went back to his house. Then they took what Micah had made and the priest who had belonged to him, and came to Laish, to a people quiet and unsuspecting, and struck them with the edge of the sword, and they burned the city with fire. And there was no one to save them, because it was far from Sidon, and they had no dealings with anyone. And it was in the valley which is near Beth Rehob. So they rebuilt the city and lived in it, and they named the city Dan, after the name of Dan their father, who was born to Israel. However, the name of the city was previously Laish. The sons of Dan set up for themselves the carved image, and Jonathan, the son of Gershom, the son of Manasseh, he and his sons were priests to the tribe of the Danites until the day of the captivity of the land. So they set up for themselves Micah's carved image, which he had made all the time that the house of God was in Shiloh. Can you sub for me for just a second? Doing the cambio substitution.
You're at 19?
Mm-hmm.
Judges 19. The Levite's concubine raped and killed.
Now it came about in those days, when there was no king in Israel, that there was a certain Levite staying in the remote part of the hill country of Ephraim. He took a concubine for himself from Bethlehem in Judah. But his concubine found him repugnant, and she left him and went to her father's house in Bethlehem in Judah, and remained there for a period of 4 months. Then rape them and do to them whatever you wish.